The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of the Barbers Chat Network, our great partners at H&B Media, or any of our media peers. We're just five idiots who love sports and love to talk shit. If you're offended easily, then this show isn't for you. And for those of you who aren't offended easily, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Remember, it's only entertainment.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold. My agent just said we made 100 flat. Make it back and make it stack this like I'm Steven Jack. Put my rings up in the camera like I needed that. Up in the air and at the rim is where I meet them at.
Before we start the show, we want to thank our sponsors, Pillars. Pillars is the best clothing line in the Chicagoland area. If you're looking for a dope hoodie, a sweatsuit, shirts, shoes, or even stuff for your kids, Pillars is where you should go. You can visit any of their 3 store locations in the Chicagoland area or visit pillarsclub.co and order online. Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? It is another day, another Monday, another edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You. We are back. It is your host, Scott Lewis. You know where to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Barberchair Scott. You can follow the Barberchair Network at BarberchairNet on all social media platforms. Follow HNB Media at HNB Media TV on Twitter and at HNB Media on Instagram. Follow us on Patreon, subscribe to us on Patreon at patreon.com/Barberchair Network, and get in tune with our sponsors, man. Of course, our sponsors are Pillars. You can go to pillarsclub.co. You can go to pillars_club on Instagram, or you can visit any of the 3 Chicagoland store locations. There's one in the West Loop over there on 1167 West Madison Street, one in the Chicago Ridge Mall, and one in the Orland Park Mall, man. It is Monday, June 17th. 2024. We've got a pretty packed show for y'all, man. Sorry about us being on CP time. The pre-show meeting was very entertaining. So yeah, sorry y'all missed out on that. Might have been better than half the show that we're gonna have today, but we got a good packed show for y'all. We gonna have the homie Damien's gonna be joining later on in this hour to talk some WNBA. We got in the second hour a lot of baseball talk, Stanley Cup Finals for Dummies with Courtney Collarbro. Of course, the homie Mikey will be back as well. We're gonna talk a little Thrones talk about last night's episode. Me and Dante will go full in depth as we're getting back to reviewing House of the Dragon on the Patreon. That's gonna drop on Tuesday. Look out for that. And of course, in the local hour, we're going to talk a little bit of Bears, of what should the realistic expectations be for Caleb's struggles, like as a rookie. We're all talking about what's the good things he can do. What happens if he starts off slow? We're going to talk about that possibility. We're going to predict what his actual numbers are going to be for his rookie season. Is Keenan Allen here for a short time? And also, what's going on with this building? What's with this new stadium project? Some comments by Kevin Warren made over the last couple of days made me think that joint might not be coming anytime soon. And also a funny thing, we just had on the local hour on Friday, me, Pavi, and the homie Big Dave from CHGO gave our plan on how to fix the Bulls. Then we heard about Alex Caruso trade today that probably could have helped the Bulls. So we're going to talk about that and why they are in the circle of hell. Right now, I'm going to bring in my co-host today. We've got Dante and JR Bang. You can follow Bang at all social media platforms at JR Bang. You can follow Dante at Octobersonte on Twitter. Do not look for him on Instagram. He will come look for you. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Gustavo, what's going on? He said, did y'all see Chief Keef moving through the president? Yeah, man. Shout out to Keith. Shout out our guy Murphy. Shout out our guy Peter Pan. The guys who are behind getting Keith to come back to Chicago. So if you are a Summer Sessions fan, you might want to listen to this week's episode. We gonna get
because I got gripes. I got gripes.
Well, I just want to say Merck did offer me a backstage pass, but I turned it down because I was.
Oh,
you should have called it, and I would have flew up for that.
I didn't know Dante got a shot of Compound V and was just.
Oh yeah, we healed up real quick, baby.
Now, Scott, you saw what I text you. You saw what I text both of y'all.
I didn't see what you text us.
Talk about we'll text you and Merk.
You talking? Oh yeah. Well, to be fair, I asked Merk and Merk said I got you. I was just like, I was joking. I'm not really finna be going out there at music festival, but I was offered one.
Last episode of Summer Sessions tomorrow. Y'all be prepared.
Tune in for Summer Sessions this week, man. But Bang, how was your Father's Day weekend?
Stressful. Just like Father's Day are for fathers. Day. Nigga, Father's Day is another day for fathers. Mother's Day, if everything goes well, is the pomp and circumstances. Father's Day is be like, all right, nigga.
Well, I feel like Father's.
Thank you for staying around.
I don't have kids yet. I call it thank you for going to the corner store and coming back today. As I always tell my dad, I be joking with him like, thank you for actually coming back from the store. You know, we got my dad a nice little jacket, a nice card, and the nigga had us some cake. Was able. He had the living room to himself. My mom went somewhere else. Nigga had a good day. But Dante, how was your weekend? I was messing with Dante on Saturday. I was like, I know this nigga not on the rooftop after missing Friday show. I'm like, this nigga here like you.
Nah, bro. I'm feeling like a brand new person, show? Bro. I tried like Thursday. If you go back and watch the Hot Corner, bro, I'm shaking through the whole show.
That's why I was messing with Dante. This nigga was shaking like Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, like I was legit sick as hell. But no, Saturday woke up feeling a lot better. And now we back at it, bro. But my weekend, I just chilled at the crib trying to get right.
Yeah, I was like, this nigga on the rooftop talking like James St. Patrick. I was like, if I didn't do the show on Thursday, I'd have thought this nigga was playing me.
Yeah.
but my weekend, man, I ain't do much. I chilled. One thing I will say, it's summertime in Chicago and every other story is boat. I just want to say this because we see all these accidents that happen in these boats. Y'all gotta stop being in these boats with niggas who got one hand on the wheel and one hand on the bottle of Hennessy. Okay, like we gotta stop. Then you be in the middle of Lake Michigan, wonder how you gonna get back. I'm not trying to poo-poo nobody fun, but if that nigga ain't actually drove a boat before, it better not leave that dock. I'm staying right there, and it's starting to become like Lake Lanier. Like every weekend we hear about people disappearing,
and people don't realize, bro. Like you jumping off these boats in the lakes, the current under the water ain't the same as the current on top of the water. So if you drunk, you got to really be careful with that shit, bro. Like I've been hearing the stories, and when I was kicking it with my homie at his crib, his mom, they still stay up at the crib, and they were saying, nah, bro, more and more you starting to hear people go out to Lake Michigan and they not coming back. We got to be careful. Have your fun, but at the same time,
but
water and alcohol do not mix.
No, they don't. Nigga, sometimes like you don't even want to. You don't want the older you get, you don't want to do a lot of stuff. Drink alcohol, nigga. Like, but that's it. I'm not trying to poo-poo nobody fun. Y'all do what y'all do. Enjoy the you know what I'm saying, in the summer and do your thing. But yeah. But let's get
real quick before you go. Because I like you said, we don't want to poo-poo on shit, but I do got questions. When we were shorties, did they have Black Yacht Week? Do y'all remember this? This is some new nigga shit.
Nigga, this didn't exist 5 years ago. All right. This is a post-COVID thing. Chicago think they Miami now. So that's what that is. Chicago think they're Miami. I think it was probably something like during quarantine, niggas was using just to link up and be outside, and then it just became a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like when I moved away from Chicago, nigga, there wasn't that much to do out there. Like, and I was outside, nigga, before I left. I came back, I was like, what is this? There's tons of stuff to do. Why couldn't this be around when I had energy? Now, nigga, I don't have no energy for that. Like, not at all. My day be over. I do finish work. You trying to go outside? No, I'm gonna drink this alcohol that I have in my house for free. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm gonna do. I know I sound like I'm 40, but that's just what it is.
Mean, that bitch.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
I'm 42. That's all I was gonna say. Shit, I'm 42. I ain't.
But shout out to all the fathers. Shout out my guy TPJ who owns H&B Media. It's his birthday today. Y'all wish my homie happy birthday. Happy birthday,
my G.
Well, y'all call him TBJ. That nigga's Thomas to me. All right, like Pappy be on here calling him TBJ. That nigga's Thomas. I had class with this nigga in high school. You know, there's a. I know. I'm gonna say that we get to it. Did y'all know there was a time I was taller than Thomas?
What?
Yes, there was a time in high school I was taller than this nigga all of high school. This nigga got an ungodly growth spurt in college. I promise you. He'll tell you this himself. I was taller than Thomas all 4 years of high school. This is not a myth.
Graduating was like that growth plate in his foot was like.
Yeah, wake up, this nigga. I mean, college comes, nigga on 6 feet. Like I promise, it was the funniest thing ever. But let's get into our actual topics, man. We don't want to run too behind. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We are about 3 hours away from Game 5 of the NBA Finals, man. The Boston Celtics are looking to clinch their 18th NBA championship in franchise history. And also today is the 16th anniversary of their last championship, where Kevin Garnett did the anything's possible and shouted out Minnesota, Chicago, and all the Vice Lords and all that thing. So it's been that long since the last championship. They got blown out the water Friday night at Game 4. Luka Doncic had a pretty good game after being killed. Really, we killed him on the show on Friday. And people would kill him in the media that whole week with the way he has played defense. And really is just effort in general. Like numbers wise, he's been having a good series. But if you look at just the way he's been playing defense and, you know, just playing the game, it's been real selfish, you know, arguing with the referees and things like that. But in Game 4, he did everything but that. He was trying on defense and things like that. And so the thing that kind of pissed me off about this, first of all, we're going to get into the Celtics thing of this in a minute because they are at home with a chance to clinch. And we'll talk about the ramifications of that for the NBA. But it kind of pissed me off because I hate when people don't do stuff and then they decide to do it at the last minute when it's like, you should have did this a long time ago. Like Luka, we're not asking Luka to be a defensive stalwart, but you can at least try. You know what I'm saying? Try to give me some energy. Try to be out there on the defensive end. Stop complaining with the referees. Do the things you need to do to put your team in position to win. He did all of that on Thursday. So then it makes me think you can do this all the time. So I originally put on a rundown, what did Luka shut his critics up? And I thought about like, no, that nigga could have been doing this all the time. And it really just kind of made me upset. Dante, what did you think about the way you saw him play compared to the first 3 games? And do you think this is something that he knows he can do this every night? Like, what do you think's the reason why he doesn't play that hard defensively?
I think, the excuse is he exerts all of his energy on the offensive side of the ball. And I think that's that's partially true, but the reality is Luka has gained a lot of weight. You feel me? Since he first got in the league. And while he may be in game shape where it's good enough for him to play, the idea that he's at his best physically, I just don't think it can be true. It's kind of like when Kobe would get on Shaq and say, Shaq, you're not in shape. Like, was Shaq dominant? Absolutely. Could Shaq have been better? Shaq himself will tell you, yes, I could have been better. So I think that's the thing with Luka. And what you saw in Game 4 was just the effort. We talk a lot about how playing defense is a lot of that is effort, just effort and the angles you take and that sliding your damn feet. And when you out of shape and out of breath, it's a little difficult to do that. So I think it's been one of those things where Luka has exerted so much energy on the offensive side of the ball that he's used to just hiding on the other side. Like, all right, let me take a second, conserve my energy and get back to it. Whereas in this series, when you have 5 shooters on the floor at the same time, he can't take a break. Like, they need him to at least be active and give that energy so they're not just putting the bullseye on you and say, okay, we're going to pick and roll these niggas to death until he stops it. So I think in Game 4, that's what you saw. You just saw more of that energy being extended to the defensive side of the ball, and he still got his on offense. So I think it's something that he can do, but in terms of this series, this shit's still a wrap. But, going forward, hopefully what I would like to see is next year, Luka come back a little slimmer and just fully commit to playing defense because it's one of those things where he's just like, yo, I'm a rest over here. I'm chilling.
Yeah, I'm with Shane O'Mac, man. Like, I hear everything you're saying. I agree, but that showed me that you can try. Like, this is the thing, too. In the first 3 rounds, remember, we was like, yo, Luke was playing decent defense. Like, that was the whole thing. Him and Kyrie, they weren't locking up, but the effort was there. I kind of feel like this series, he kind of went back to his old ways from the regular season where he's not trying at all, crying with the refs. That foul at the end of Game 3, Like, why are you trying to attempt a charge when you're down in the fourth quarter and you know you got a fifth foul, you got your own 5 fouls? That just didn't make any sense to me. To the point is like that whole Dallas performance. Now I get it, back against the wall time. You don't want to get swept. Boston probably came into that game like, yo, we're gonna try for a quarter. You know, if it's manageable, we'll try to win this game. If not, we're gonna head to the crib. We're gonna win that at the crib. We'll have a bigger party. We ain't gotta get on no flight, you know, and things of that nature. So I do think it was a mix of Dallas not wanting to get swept and Boston not 100% trying because they know they got that game 5 in their back seat. But it's just, to me, the effort really just pissed me off. Now I'm not gonna go to the level of some people's the worst effort I've seen in the NBA Finals game. Like, everything's always got to be over the top. But it kind of felt like Luka was trolling me as one of his top, you know, fans and one of the top people who support him when I watch him. It's like, dude, you could have did the same things you did in the first 3 rounds. It's the NBA Finals. You think you would step it up a little bit? Bang. When me and you picked the Mavericks, we're the only 2 out of the 4 to pick the Mavericks in this series. What is your take on not just Luka but Kyrie's performance as well? And you know, do you think that, you know, what you saw in Game 4 kind of pissed you off? Because like, y'all could have been doing this whole time.
Well, first, it didn't piss me off because I expected that to happen. Why? Because I expected Boston to give us one of those games where they shit the bed. This is what I was expecting. I thought we was going to get more of this series. We didn't. So, yeah, I don't think none of it because it was just one of those games that Boston gives away. I think, if anything, they probably thought that Dallas was going to give up and was not, going to be ready, and they was just going to coast to an easy victory, and it just didn't happen like that. So, yeah, I don't think none of it outside of that. As far as Luka goes, I mean, he been fat the whole entire year. He's been fat all of these playoffs. I mean, it's been working if we're at fat Luka. If this is why Mike Finley took the beer from his hand after the game when they won the series to head to the finals, then this is why. I just think that they are just going up against a better team, a team that if they don't bullshit, they should sweep. I know at least, well, I'll just speak for me. My thing was Boston gives away games. As Shane O'Mac says, they trick off games. You trick off games against Luka, you trick off 2, Luka could give you 2 more. So that was my whole thought process, especially if Luka and Kyrie are who they say or who people say that they are. Just what happens that they're going up against a more talented team. And outside of Luka and Kyrie, what else you going to get? Well, we expecting a double-double a game for Daniel Gafford. PJ Washington ain't necessarily been, existent in this series. So they're just going up against a better team. That's what this is. They're not matched up evenly, but you have 2 great players who can make up that difference. In this case, it just hasn't.
Definitely. Let's talk about what they can do tonight, because we all know closeout games are the toughest, no matter if you're home or not. Boston Celtics. And, with a team that's going to be clinching for the first time, will have opportunity to clinch for the first time. I'm pretty sure there's extra butterflies there. You're at the crib, you're in Boston, all that championship history. They're going to do the corny montage at the beginning of the show. From Red to Russell to Bird to the Truth and Ticket. They're going to do all of that, hyping up the Celtics history and things like that and what it means for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I think for the Mavericks to win tonight's game, to be able to push this to a 6 game, is they got to play like how they played in Game 4. They got to go out there and give that same effort. Like, to be able to combat what Boston does, you got to be, I don't say you got to play a perfect game, but you really can't let up, because on paper, this team is so much better than you talent-wise. So you're going to need that same effort defensively from Luka Doncic. You're going to need him to actually try. Stay out of the referee's face, because they're on the road. There's going to be a lot of whistles for the Boston Celtics. To go out there and be the Kyrie and the Luka that you've been the first 3 rounds. They'll make it easy for this Celtics defense to guard you. And more importantly, what I saw from Derek Lively in Game 4, I need to see that again tonight. That's the kind of performance I need from him, from Daniel Gafford. All the others have to step up. I seen somebody else in the chat earlier said, why they didn't play Tim Hardaway more? I asked that same question, and I saw Tim Hardaway play in games 3 and 4, and I understand why they wasn't playing Tim Hardaway. So you need to go with your 6 or 7 guys that you can trust with the fate of the world. And if Kyrie and Luka got to play 40 minutes tonight, they got to play 40 minutes tonight. That's the kind of energy I want to see. Take exactly what you did in game 4 and try to bring it back here. Because if not, this is going to be a rout, and this is going to get out of hand real quick. And you don't want to be one of those teams who, we're talking about, well, did they really deserve to be here in the first place? How many 5 seeds actually make the NBA Finals? I think they're going to lose the series regardless. Obviously, there's been no team in NBA history to come back from 0-3. I think there's only been 4 in general in the history of sports. And, of course, obviously the most famous one, 2004, when the Red Sox came back against the Yankees. I know this happened with the Bruins one time in hockey. I know the Blackhawks came back from 0-3 when they won the Cup in 2013. And I think it happened one other time in hockey. But this has never happened in the NBA. It's only happened one time, 3-1 in the finals. So I doubt it's going to happen. But you can at least put a little fear into Boston. Shane O'Mac just said in the chat, they trick off games. The biggest thing for Boston is when it's butt clenching time, how they going to act. Win this game tonight, put some doubt in their head like, yo, if we don't win game 6, even if you got game 7 at the crib, you never won a game 7 where the best players on the other team. So if you're Luka, if you're the Mavs, I know to play like you have nothing to lose when you do have something to lose, but in your mind, people are already writing you off. So you might as well go out there and play like you ain't got nothing to lose. Dante, what do you need to see from the Mavericks tonight to be able to believe they can push this game back to Dallas?
I need a generational performance from Luka and Kyrie. Like, I'm with you in the sense that I need them to play with that sense of urgency, like this is the last game of the year, because it potentially can be. So I don't want to hear about being tired and all that other shit. I need them to legit go into their zone, and like the same way we saw Bron and Kyrie go 41-41. Like we need that type of performance, but they need 3 in a row now. Like I think they can potentially push it to 7. I picked Boston in 6, so I still got Boston in 6. But with everything we said about their tendency to trick off games, like JR, you hit the nail on the head. If you give Luka and Kyrie 2, they can go get 2 more. So I think that's the last thing you want to do if you Boston. You want to keep your foot on their neck and end this tonight. So if I'm Dallas, I need them playing with that urgency. Like this is it. Like all right, bro, we need to pace ourselves because we're trying to win 3 games and all of that. No. I need you to play every quarter. Like when this shit hit 0-0, we getting on the bus and going home. So I need that type of energy from Dallas tonight. And I think you'll get that tonight. I think it's going to be a good game tonight, a close one. But I still think Dallas can steal this one and really make it a series.
Bang, what you need to see from Dallas tonight to extend this thing back to Texas?
Honestly, I don't need to see shit from Dallas. I need to see Boston is the most talented team.
Yeah.
So even if Luka and Kyrie come out and play a magnificent game, they still have to not get a magnificent game from Jaylen Brown. So that's what I need to see. I need to see a huff-ass Jaylen Brown. If we see a huff-ass Jaylen Brown, then Luka and Kyrie are who we thought they are, and that's their second gimme game. And then it's a different series because you do not want to go to Dallas 3-2. You do not. I still will have Boston winning this series the way that it is right now, even though I picked Dallas. Boston, they're not going to lose game 7 in Boston. If they were to lose game 7 in Boston, oh my God, you might as well trade that whole entire team.
Man,
all of the racism is going to come out. All of the racism is going to come out. But also we know in history that, especially when you look over at Luka, who's done this overseas, if you look at Kyrie, who's done this down to 3-1 and won the series with a game-winning shot. I just need Boston to do what they're supposed to do and get this over with. I expect Kyrie and I expect Luka to come out there balling. But is it enough? I'm not sure if it is.
I think you just kind of said it a little bit. And that was my question for y'all next was, Is this a must win for the Celtics? Because I don't want to say must. It's kind of crazy to say must win for a team that's up 3-1 and
no,
all they got to do
ain't.
to win one. But I kind of feel like this is 3-1.
Yes,
it is must win, because if the Mavericks win tonight, now they got momentum on their side. They go into the crib, and like I keep saying, I understand that, you know, Tatum is great. And, you know, Tatum's good and Brown is good, but you don't want Luka, especially if Luka's playing the same way he playing game full. Like, oh, I'm trying on defense. Look what's happening. You don't want to go to Boston. Go to Dallas, and now it's like we win one game and whatever's on the line. You know, can this team actually do it? That's why I feel it's a must win. I know, Bang, you agree with me. Dante, do you think this is a must win for the Boston tonight?
Yes. Yes, I think, like we said, you don't want to give a team where the, you know, two most talented people in this series, in my opinion, are on Dallas. And that's, you know, I think Jalen and Jason are great, but I don't think neither one of them are better than Kyrie. That's just me personally. So when you got both of the best players on the opposite team, the last thing you want to do is keep extending that rope and giving them a little bit more. Because if they catch fire and then you look up at you in game 7, yeah, you're going to be at home. But at the same time, given everything we've seen with this team and the way we talk about them getting to the mountaintop and not being able to get over, I think that's the last thing you want to set yourself up for. Because you don't know what those nerves are going to hit like when you step into that building for game 7. Like, it's easy to sit here and be like, all right, yeah, no, it's cool. We up 3-0. It ain't never happened. Never say never, because I'm sure the Red Sox, the Yankees were saying the same shit. In fact, I'm with you. Eventually, something's going to happen. Just like we keep seeing records set, and then the next year they being broken. Like, things are starting to happen faster and faster. So 3-0 is a hell of a, you know, lead to have. But at the same time, bro, we talk about how the NBA is these days, bro. So anything can happen. And with those two on that squad, bro, I think tonight is a must win. You gotta knock this shit out and get it over with.
I agree. I know, Bang, you agree with me, so I'm not gonna go to you on that. But my question for this, man, and then we're gonna go to our predictions. My thing for this is with the NBA. Is this a bad look for the NBA if we have another series kind of be uncompetitive and it goes to another 5 game? Because last year I think we kind of all expected that with Denver and Miami. Miami went on that miracle run, which I love Jimmy Butler, but they had no business on being in the finals in the first place. And it's like Jimmy ran out of you know, energy towards the finals. What do you think this says for the NBA? If, you know, we've been having this, you know, moving into this new era, you got two of the brightest stars in the Luka Doncic and the Jason Tatum going at it. The ratings have already been low, which was kind of shocking to me. I actually thought the ratings would be way higher than it was, just off Boston and the Celtics. But you already got these low ratings, and then you have you don't have a competitive series. You don't have the people who like, man, where's LeBron and Steph at? Even though their series weren't competitive either, but it was still LeBron and Steph. Bang, what do you think this does for the NBA if it does in the night, and if it's not even necessarily close, if anything?
I mean, it's a hard question because basketball to me is the one sport that the most talented team is going to win 9 times out of 10. So it's hard to say. What I will say is basketball always wins when a charter team wins the title. And that's the Boston Celtics. So that's the easy out here. But it's just one of those things where it's like fake parity. And with fake parity, you get situations like this. But also it's the team that had the weakest road to the finals too. And normally when this happens, the team that's over there, the battle tested team is the one that normally pull it out. But what Boston is the number 1 seed and they're going up against a 6 seed. So this is what we expect to happen if things go the way that it's supposed to go. So, I mean, it is what it is at this point. I mean, I think the biggest thing is making stars after LeBron. That's what this hopefully does for Jaylen Brown, or could have done for Jason Tatum, but he's been huff these finals. So that would have been ideal to create a new star or superstar.
Did y'all know Tatum shooting 36% this year?
Yes, he's been terrible.
It's been bad. It's been bad. That's the one thing I take from this. As Denzel said, I'm leaving here with something. My Tatum takes are still alive. I'll say this about the NBA thing. I think the NBA is not going to get any higher than they are right now. Like, I think for them, it's a win regardless because of the media deal that's going to get announced as soon as this NBA Finals is over. That obviously there's a demand there. People want to still watch the NBA because they're getting these high deals. That's going to lead to bigger contracts. They even made it's a nice TV deal for the WNBA as well. I just think that the NBA needs to stay in their own lane. They can't compete with the NFL. I mean, even look at today's rundown. We talking about shit that we not even gonna know for another 5 months is true, just because we're so NFL thirsty. So there's nothing they can beat them to do that. But I do think it's a rough start, and maybe that's how it always is when you're introducing new things. That you have two of your brightest stars in Jason Tatum and in Luka Doncic, and the series doesn't go as competitive as a lot of people thought, and the ratings don't reflect that. But I feel, if you want to talk about narratives, thank you, Orlando. I feel if we all about stories, a Boston collapse would be amazing. Amazing press for the NBA. I'm sorry. Like, that would be, you want to talk about people talking after the finals is over? Remember how they talked about the Warriors in 2016? That will destroy all of that, in my opinion.
Would never beat the allegations
ever again. Like, beat 3-1, 73-9 is one thing, and people still clown them even though they won 2 more championships, 3 more championships after that. But 0-3 to the Celtics? Nah. Dante, what do you think about, does this have any ramifications for the NBA if it ends early tonight?
It doesn't. And I think this is one of those moments where, we never acknowledge this out loud, but we are now the old niggas. Like, the NBA is consumed differently than the way that we consumed it. So it's like, for the young folks who only watching highlights and clips of the game anyway, that's why I really don't take a lot of the ratings talk into too much consideration with the NBA, because you have so many different streaming deals. And so people are just like, fuck that. I'm not paying for everything. I could just go to Stream East or wherever you go to watch your games and do it that way. Like, you had a video of LeBron fucking streaming NBA games.
I was about to say LeBron on Stream East.
Yeah, bro. So I think that with the ratings, I always take that with a grain of salt, but I don't think this will change much because, we have a league that is so narrative driven that people are already locked in on whatever side they own. So, those who think the NBA is dying and they say this every year, LeBron don't make the finals, they're going to keep saying that. You feel me? So it's not going to change any of that. So I think that part about what it means for the league is a little bit overstated, but just in terms of what we've been talking about the entire playoffs and wanting to get these new stars out there on the main stage, I still think it's a win. So no matter what happens tonight, but even if it ends tonight, it won't be something where people are like, oh, fuck the league. The people that love the league are going to love it regardless and keep pouring into it.
Very true. Let's get to our picks and predictions for tonight. Then we're going to bring the homie Damien in. We're going to quickly talk about Charles Barkley, and we're going to discuss some WNBA, and Bane's going to take his break before we bring him in for the look while, because that nigga's not going to want to talk baseball. So, but let's get into our predictions for the night. I'm going to go Celtics win tonight. They clinch the title. Not only do they clinch the title, is there anything you say on there that's funny or no?
No, man. Hey, yeah, Antoine Walker. Them saying Antoine Walker took LeBron James to the 50 is wild.
When the fuck was this? When he was young? We been saying take him to the 50. Niggas been watching the show. Niggas been watching the show.
That's why I'm laughing.
LeBron at the 50 is hilarious, but
LeBron at the 50 is nasty.
It's a hilarious visual. But yeah, I got the Celtics tonight. I think they win the title, and honestly, I don't think this game's gonna be that close. I think it's gonna kind of mirror the game 6 of 16 years ago when they completely steamrolled the Lakers. That's why I think it's gonna be Jaylen Brown will be your Finals MVP tonight. Bang. Who you got tonight? And you think it'll be a close or it'll be a blowout?
Oh man, I got the Boston with the points.
Okay.
And I think it was at 6.5 when I took that bet. Yeah, this is not gonna be a close one tonight. This is gonna be the Boston Tea Party, fam. Them white folks gonna be going crazy tonight.
Yeah, man. Boston having too good of a week, man. The Red Sox took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees. Tom Brady got into the Hall of Fame last week. They having too good of a week. Like,
well, they about to send Kyrie home.
Oh
my God!
And Kyrie admitted. Kyrie was like, "Yeah, I brought a lot of this on myself." He finna get called every slur on.
Oh my God!
It's gonna be the old school slurs. They call him a moon cricket. They're gonna be out there wilding, nigga. They're gonna be out
like so Boston Jangles.
Man, so Boston in the blowout. Jaylen Brown MVP. Kyrie gonna try to play the whole Zen role at the press conference. He gonna be stuck. So Boston in the blowout.
I got
Dante. Yeah.
I'm gonna say Boston. I'm Boston. Like I said, I think it's gonna be a close game. I think Boston gets it done, and I think despite the terrible shooting he's had all playoffs, I think Jason Tatum gives us his best game tonight to close it out. Like I do think that. I think tonight he really goes in and does his thing, and they win by. It'll be close, but then by the end of the game, they'll win by at least 8 points.
All right. We're gonna bring the homie Damien in right now, man. Let's bring him in on the. What's going on, my brother?
Shit, chilling, man. How y'all doing?
Doing pretty good. We're 2 minutes behind. I told you 2:45. 2 minutes off.
I was looking at the clock.
Yeah, and we started like 11 minutes late, by the way, because we had a nice pre-show conversation. But before we get into what we're gonna talk about, I just want to do a quick, not really ad, but to let y'all know this will probably be the last week of the 2-week show format until week 1, because I expect the Celtics to win tonight. So starting July 5th, I'm not gonna hold you. The off season will be every Friday. Leading up to week 1, it will be at 6 p.m. Eastern time. There's 5 in Chicago, 3 on the West Coast. Well, basically same show. We just only doing it once a week now because it's the off season and it ain't that much to talk about. So we're gonna go over the week's events, preview the upcoming sports weekend each week. And then, of course, we're going to have training camp reports. We're going to get y'all ready for the NFL season. And then week 1 of the NFL season, we will get back to our twice a week format, man. So we've got Damien in the house. If you are under a rock, this is one of the founders of the Summer Session podcast. I can find him at iVelvet Jones on Twitter and Instagram. Let's talk about a little bit about Charles Barkley before we get in the NBA, before we get into WNBA talk and bang and take his break. Charles Barkley announced right after Game 4. I felt like it was impromptu, but it didn't feel like it once I saw that, all the stuff TNT was doing. So obviously TNT knew ahead of time. But Charles Barkley announced that no matter what happens with inside the NBA, whether they come back for the 2020 for the 25-26 season, that he's going to retire, after his 25th year of doing media. And that's going to be in for Inside the NBA regardless now, because even if Inside gets picked up by another network, it's not Inside without Chuck. Let's just be 100% real. We already know Ernie staying with Turner. So next season is going to be the swan song for Charles Barkley and the Inside the NBA crew. Damien, what you think about, this announcement that Barkley made and, just what we think next season is going to be, knowing this is going to be the swan song?
With Barkley, it's going to be a huge loss, obviously, because that's one of the main reasons that show works, how it does, because Barkley's the off the cuff, like don't give a fuck what will come out his mouth, part of that show. It's going to be a huge loss, like, because on the TNT games, like that's one of the main reasons I even watch the game, is to see what them niggas gonna say afterwards. I think it's his loyalty to Ernie, because Ernie brought 25 years ago. I think it's the loyalty to him, to that crew, to that show. And I think he knows that it's not gonna have that same feeling if he goes to any other network. So he might as well just go while it's hot. His last season, he gonna be off the chain. He gonna be saying whatever. He gonna show up on set drunk. Yeah. A lot. like a lot. So the censors better be ready. He already don't give a fuck now. Like as soon as all the media deal news start coming out, you saw him, he's like, oh, I gotta be on LinkedIn. Like I'm on LinkedIn right now, looking for a new job. So he really gonna be off the hook on his last season. And it's gonna be weird. NBA is not gonna be the same without him doing post-game shows like that. So he gonna be missed.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, man. Like I don't want, like, for the NBA finals, if it says like 7:30, I'll turn the game on at 7:30. I don't want to hear Stephen A in Malika. I think Malika does a good job. I feel like she's the one that keeps that show from being really, really, really bad. But I'm not trying to watch any other pregame shows. With Inside, I watch it not because of the hoops. I want to see kind of like your uncles yell at each other for an hour before the game starts, an hour after. So this is going to be something that's definitely going to be missed. I don't remember in my NBA viewing. I started watching the NBA in 1996. 1995, 1996, and I don't remember a time with no Inside the NBA. So this will definitely be new for me and for the rest of the viewers, in our age bracket. But at the same time, I'm glad they're getting the swan song. It's not like something that's abrupt. I know some people thought that, this is going to be the last game. No, they still got a full season. And we know TNT is going to send them off right. And we're going to get a great season next year. We're probably even going to do a special. And knowing how the NBA does, they might even have them. Would not shock me if next year they do some cover the finals type thing, just because it's their last year, kind of like how right before Craig Sager actually retired, before he died, but they had him do the NBA finals thing. And maybe they do something special for them, where maybe they extend Inside for the finals, and that's their swan song, whatever they have in store. I think it'll be a nice ride for them, and then we just get ready for this new era. But Charles Barkley, man, he's I think, like you said, Dan, I think it's him being loyal, because Charles Barkley probably get a blank check to whatever network he decides he wanted to go to. So that's how I feel about it. So salute to Sir Charles. I've been a fan of Charles since he was a player, man. I wanted a Charles Barkley jersey so bad when I was a kid, but we just could not find one, obviously being in Chicago. And this was pre-internet, nigga. So whatever's adventure, nigga, you had to get. That's what my first jersey was a Sean Kemp. That was the only one they had there. But shout out to Charles Barkley. Bang, what you think about Barkley making this announcement?
I mean, expected. For me, it was expected. The TNA team, the TNT team, thinking about wrestling first black champ. Make sure y'all go listen to that latest episode. But the TNT team just didn't see it going nowhere, because they have all said that they not going nowhere if Ernie ain't with them. And Ernie is a lifer over there in Atlanta. So if he wasn't going nowhere, they not going nowhere. Kenny gonna probably stay on the college coverage. Shaq might move around, possibly. And Charles Barkley going home. He can't be Charles Barkley nowhere but TNT. TNT gives him not only the money, but they give him carte blanche to do whatever he feel to help elevate that show. Like, you got to remember, this show was going on before Charles Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny Smith. So this is a legacy show, no matter what you think. It's just with this group right here, there's no iteration of this show how we know it now without the four of them. And if you're not going to have the four of them, I'm like Chuck. Shit, let me go chill.
Dante, what you feel about this decision from Chuck?
I believe it, because I mean, living in Atlanta, I live down the street from Turner Studios, and after every show, Chuck is immediately at the bar below my crib. So it's like he's semi-retired already, bro. So it makes sense with the amount of money he's made, and for him to have a great Hall of Fame NBA career, and now he's probably gonna get to the Broadcast Hall of Fame in some capacity, doing that for 25 years, really, setting the tone and having the premier show for basketball. I think, I tip my cap to Chuck. Hell of a career. Like you said, is a guy who everything he accomplished at 6'4" is actually fucking crazy when you look at it. And like, I've met Chuck before. He is 6'4". Like, it's no exaggeration. He's not one of those people that got, the extra 3 or 4 inches and they say they 6'8" and all that other shit. No, Charles Barkley is legit 6'4" and was a dog of a power forward. So, I mean, I got nothing but love for Chuck. Like you said, he's hilarious. Part of the reason, one of the main reasons we watch the show. But he's somebody who's actually gotten better over the years. And even though, obviously, like I said, we don't take everything he says as law, he's one of the, athletes who really showed us that just because you were great at the sport don't mean you actually know what the fuck you're talking about. But in terms of television, Chuck was always A1. So, I mean, that's something I feel it. At first, I was like, nah, he capping depending on how much money they throw his way. But, I mean, at this point, at his age, he's made a lot of money. He's made enough to where he can just go and just relax and really just enjoy the rest of his life. So it's unfortunate, but we knew this was coming. We knew that the show was going to be on its final year next year. And now this is just like the real, in my opinion, the real final nail in the coffin. Because like everybody said, without Chuck, you don't have a show. Like, I don't care who you try to bring in. You know, he's talking, and I respect Chuck because he said, you know, I want to, you know, pass it to Jamal Crawford, to Vince Carter, somebody else. Like, basically, you know, allowing another former player who had a long career. You come in and now you come do this. So that was dope. So I think he's done. I think he's finished for real.
Definitely, man. Salute to Charles Barkley, man. Bang, we're gonna let you you know, get a little rest time, bring you back in for the local hour, man. We're gonna talk a little bit of WNBA now. Big weekend this weekend for the WNBA. You had the Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese Volume 2, which happened in what somebody called on the chat room one time. They called it the what do you call it? The Burning Cross Field House because it's Indiana. That's what they called it. So you had that. You had the WNBA Finals rematch between the Aces and the Liberty that happened in Vegas this past weekend. I just want to stick to strictly basketball this week. I don't want to talk about the political implications of something that was clearly a flagrant foul on Saturday. Damian, what did you think about what we saw this weekend with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark? They beat them twice now. And you can see like kind of the beginning of a rivalry between not beginning because it was in college, but we're seeing it on the grand stage now. What do you think about the basketball that happened in that game this weekend?
I think as far as Indiana, I think they're finally like figuring out like the style that they want to play. You know, I think Caitlin had one of her best games of the season. Was it Saturday or Sunday? Whatever the fuck they played.
Yeah,
I think she's just figuring it out, and I think that's what's going on with a lot of the rookies. You know, they had the quick transition from college to the league, and as time goes and more games that get played, I think they're just figuring out, you know, the physicality, you know, where they can make their impact on the game. Angel got in a little bit of foul trouble towards the end, and she was actually getting cooked by Nalissa Smith. She was bodying her. Angel's been on a good run. You know, she had like I think 4 or 5 straight double doubles. She's been hooping. With the Sky, as far as the Sky, I think they're trying to figure out their backcourt. Like their front court is solid. The front court, they got a lot of talent on the front court, but their backcourt is where they're having issues. None of them play defense. Like none of the guards for the Sky play defense. Like it's a cone. My girl Diamond DeShields, loved her since high school. Loved her since she actually first signed in North Carolina.
Well, that's why you like her.
You know, I kept my eye on her. Exactly. But I think the injuries have really taken a toll on her career. And Weatherspoon put her on the bench for this last game, and I think that's where she's gonna be best at because she can't withstand that those minutes as a starter. You know, like she had multiple knee injuries. She had like a tumor on her spine a few years ago where she had to relearn how to walk type shit. And she's just a shell of herself now. Like I said, Maybury, you don't play no defense. Dana Evans is like 5'5". So that's where they're going to struggle for the rest of the season. You know, earlier this season, I said I seen him as like a dark horse making the playoffs. Yeah, that's not happening.
So. Yeah. Like I learned the WNBA playoff format, and I was like, it's just not happening. Like
super dead.
It's super dead for them. And I'll say this, and I'm Dante, I want you to get your point off about Teresa Weatherspoon that we talked about in the pre-show. Even though you said it's I still want you to, you know,
no, definitely.
But this is what I took from it, man. I think you said like Angel Reese is still learning. Camila Cardozo still learning. It hasn't even been a month for her yet since she's played. I feel like Angel's biggest thing, she needs to find a post move. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these field goal attempts starting to look like tour dates. Like she went 14 yesterday. Camilla went 3-15. Like they gotta tighten it up a little bit. But I think you can kind of see the potential of both teams. I think Caitlin Clark really starting to feel it. You know, take away the slander and you know, she only had this. She's having bad games. She doesn't know how to fight. She's starting to stack some good games. She's starting to look confident. I think one thing that's been good throughout her entire rookie campaign is the way she's been assisting. Like she's been getting the ball to where it needs to be. Aaliyah Boston actually looked like she belonged on the court, which from the games I've seen, she's looked like she's been real timid. And I know I'm a new viewer, so I know last year she was rookie of the year, but to me, she ain't been looking like it since. But last night she was aggressive, and I feel like that helped a lot. And then Caitlin Clark was just in a bag, hitting threes and setting up her teammates. It really feels like once the Sky actually get a score, I know Kennedy Carter, she's a good scorer, but she ain't like what I mean by score, because somebody almost cussed me out on WNBA Twitter about this. I mean like a go-getter, like a bucket getter, like a star. Like what Juju Watkins will be when she gets in the WNBA. You need somebody like that so you can have your Twin Towers be more effective, because I don't think they'll ever be, when we look at Angel as like a super offensive player. I mean, maybe I'm off on that, but that's just how I see from what I view with her. But I feel like this is a budding rivalry, and even if you take the off-court things, it's bad for, Twitter discussions. But for the NBA, for WNBA, I don't think it's too bad, because it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Larry and Magic thing, a little bit where race plays a factor into what people are gonna watch. As reaching as it was, that you had Deadline Hollywood tweeting about it just like what are we doing? Like the better these teams get, I think the better it's gonna get. Dante, what'd you see from the Sky and the Fever this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's like Damian said, when you got two teams that are, spearheaded by rookies, essentially, it's going to take time for them to adjust.
Boy, you spelling my name like a Mexican.
It's Damien, nigga.
Yeah. But no, and like when you talked about Aaliyah Boston, I think with the Fever, they're learning to not just try to rely so heavily on Caitlin Clark. Yes, she's great, but they still have a team. You still have the rookie of the year from last season on your team. So you're seeing them start to run the offense through her more often during the fourth quarters, as opposed to just having her be a decoy and we try to run everything through Caitlin. For Caitlin Clark, I think she's finally starting to adjust to the speed of the W. Because like we said, they had the NCAA tournament. They graduated. It was like 3 days, and then they went in training camp. So, they haven't really had time to work and to look at things that they need to key on and adjust. And so I think so far what you've seen with both teams being really young, is that adjustments are happening on the fly. And as for what we talked about in the pre-show, it's still early, so I'm going to stall her out. But Teresa Weatherspoon be getting her ass out coached, bro. Like, how many games have you watched them battle back, claw back, playing team ball, team offense, and then whoever was getting the buckets, you take them and sit them down, and now we got to force Mabry to try to score every time down the court. Or it's Kennedy who has to try to score every time down the court. So it speaks to like what you say about needing to score. But I also think, again, that's going to take time with her and her first year with the team, knowing what she has, what she doesn't have, and how she needs to mix it. But like you said, with the backcourt, with Dana and Mabry, Dana and Kennedy, they don't really play together. Like, they never played them together because of the defensive issues. But at the same time, those are probably your two best scorers outside of Mabry. You feel me? That can actually try to get something going. But because the defensive issues are so bad, she refuses to play them together. So that's something they're gonna have to figure out. We know they don't have that draft pick this year, so everybody's saying tank. You can't do that.
And that's what I said too. I just found out about that Mabry shade, but that's real. Arcturus Carnisova's West Side West level of trade.
And it's crazy because the scorer they need was on the team, and Kalia, but she's in Phoenix now doing her thing. So that would have been great.
Killing it,
Hooping.
Yeah,
she
that would have been great.
Last week.
Yeah, so I mean, unless they, which I still think with the talent on the roster, it's gonna be tough to do this next year. But I already gave Scott the slogan: we got to be doo-doo for Juju. We got to be doo-doo for Juju. That's what it is, baby. We got to lose out. You feel me? And get that number one pick. So I think with those two, that's really what it is. Two young teams who I think, we talked about the Bird Magic aspect of it, and the fact that the teams are in Chicago and Indiana, two states that often, clash based on personalities and what the people want. It's perfect. Like, we could talk about the negativity and all of that, but like we always say, man, just ignore the idiots and enjoy what's actually going on. Yeah. Like, it's still some nice young hoopers playing, and we could take the race shit out of it. It's good basketball. You feel me? This is good for the W because they've been looking for something like this to bring more eyes on. And those new eyes are now seeing, oh, wait, you got Asia Wilson over here. She cold as fuck. oh damn, Stewie over there in New York doing her thing. Sabrina's nice too. Like Kayla McBride up in Minnesota, she's cooking motherfuckers. So like you see that it's a lot of talent in this league, and it's such a small number of women in the league playing. And so I think it's all positive at the end of the day. No matter how people try to spin it, it's all positive.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, you said Juju in Chicago would be crazy. First of all, have you said, I don't know if y'all looked at the ticket prices. The Sky didn't found out niggas want to watch them because it's looking like the prices for Sky tickets now for nosebleeds are the tickets you pay for nosebleeds for the Bulls now. Like, so somebody didn't figure it out. Oh, we got a star.
Oh yeah, no, Angel moving the needle is undeniable. No matter how much, like I saw fat folks, Jason Whitlock try to shit on her and say, well, Angel Reese only sold 10,000 tickets in DC while Caitlin sold it out. It's like, well, yeah, the Mystics only sold 10,000 tickets and they sold it out. So like, had you had a higher capacity, people come to see Angel. Like, she
also
moves
it's Indianapolis. There's things to do in Chicago in the summer. Like I hate to break it to you. It's Indianapolis. Nigga, there's nothing to do there but to watch Angel Reese. They ain't got no baseball team, nigga.
Triple A team.
They got the Fort Wayne Wizards out there, nigga. They ain't nothing to watch in Indiana, nigga. But yeah, and Angel outside. Like I said, I don't think there's a more perfect city for her. Angel went to they played the game. She was at Chief Keef concert last night. You know what I'm saying? So she out here doing the thing, and the Sky was like, we should charge more. That's what we should do. We should charge more. But speaking of the defending champions, we just talked about with the Aces, they're in a little tough spot right now. They have lost. They're 4-6 in the last 10 games. They are 6-6 right now. Lost 90-82 to the New York Liberty in a rematch of the WNBA Finals last year, where they washed them pretty good. Is it time to panic in Vegas, Damian, or is this is just stuff that you're going through the motions right now?
You see the shirt, okay? You see the shirt.
I see the shirt.
I got faith in the Aces, and I told you the Aces are gonna be all right. They started this season without Chelsea Gray, who's the best point guard in the league. So they've been giving the point guard duties over to Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum, who are not point guards at all. Jackie's averaging 25 and 5, which looks good, but when you watch them, you can tell like they struggle setting up their offense. When the guards start going, like they don't know how to slow down, they don't know how to set up the offense, how to feed the post. They just running around, and when they get in a tough position, they get a ball to Asia, and Asia get a bucket. So I think they'll be fine once Chelsea gets back. She should be coming back, I'd say, in like the next week or so. I'm actually going to go try and see them on Wednesday when they play the Storm, so I can go see Skylar. But I think they'll be fine. Like their starting five has always been solid. Their bench has been always a question mark, but they just signed Tiffany Hayes, who's a hooper. She played for Atlanta for a little bit, played for the Sun. The rookie Kate Martin, Caitlin Clark's running mate, she's a solid player off the bench. So I think we just hold our horses. I think they'll be fine. I think once Chelsea gets back, they'll start rolling again, like we've seen over the past few years. Asia's having like one of the fucking greatest seasons in WNBA history right now. Like I think she went nine straight games scoring 25. That's never happened before. Becky's coaching the best she can. They're having issues on defense, but I think, like I said, when Chelsea gets back, they'll start rolling again. So don't worry about it. They'll be all right.
On a non-Aces note, I told Damian that I was gonna go to a Sparks game with him. July 16th, they playing the Storm. I will be back in LA. Let's do that. Let's put it in. Damian been bugging me about that for years.
Years, nigga.
For years, nigga. So we'll do that. But Dante, are you panicked about the Aces? Do you think this is just the things champions go through, or is there some legit panic here?
No need to panic. Because I mean, if anything, if you're the rest of the league, you need to panic. Because if they make it in as a lower seed and they get healthy at the right time, they're gonna dog walk motherfuckers again. So I think it's the last thing you should really do is panic. If you're the Aces, you still have the best player on the planet in Asia Wilson. You still have a lot of championship pedigree on that team. So it's just a matter of getting healthy, getting right. And we know Becky is gonna put them in the best position to succeed. I think one thing that's been interesting to see this season is Becky Hammond as a leader. just taking up for her team, talking about just all of the noise around the league, because she's one of the founders of this league. You feel me? Like the things that she did when she was playing, she's one of the reasons the W is where it is. And so to see her take these young women under her wing, and there's been talk about her going to the NBA, and she shut all that out. Like, nah, I'm in Vegas. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Damien, she's the highest paid coach in the league, right?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why Cambage kind of was pissed off and started bitching and complaining, like, how is a coach the highest paid person in our league? And but she deserves it. I mean, she came in and won 2 straight titles off the jump. So what you expect?
Pay me. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's the last thing. I would panic. No, like just you gotta get healthy, get right. Like you said, you have a great team and you're still missing great pieces of that team, bro. And like the shot, and surprisingly, I never thought I would say this, but shout out to Mark Davis. Like he finally's done something right. Like he's a lifelong fuck up, but he got it right with the Aces.
Right. He got this right.
And he funny because he don't fuck with the Raiders at all. Like he fuck with the Raiders, but that nigga be at every Aces game. He be at every. I remember he was skipping Raiders games to be like, "No, I'm going to the Aces." Like I know they'll win.
This how even nigga Tom Brady came to the ring ceremony like he be at every game. Like Tom Brady, like nah, nigga, I'll be. And he gave a speech right before the rings got passed out. I didn't know Tom Brady even owned part of the team. That's how you know
he got in when it was hot.
Yeah, that's how I know they move a needle. They had Bron was there on Saturday, Dame Lillard, Bam Adebayo. Dame was just happy to be in the city to got things to do for one night. That nigga was cheesing like a motherfucker. But one last time, we're gonna bring Courtney and Mikey in about 5 minutes for hour 2. Let's talk about the Connecticut Sun, man. Right now, the Connecticut Sun, they are, killing things in the WNBA. They are the number 1 team in the WNBA. By the way, I was very sleep on Carrington. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I am my eye. With my man Rev Lonnie, I said, "Damn, did my eyes?" That's how I felt when I watched that last game. I was like, okay, I was not aware. But
Mr. Smith gonna dive on your ass, boy. Better relax.
Oh yeah, Nalissa Smith on the Fever. That's her boo. She actually went to.
I can't say what's on my mind right now. So
she actually went to. She actually left Indiana. She actually left Indiana and went to a couple of the Suns games. Like fuck it.
We lost another one. So the Sun are 12-1. The Sun are 12-1 right now, number 1 in the WNBA. I know all the talk has been around the New York Liberty, obviously, because they were in the finals last year, and they're having a pretty good. They're only a game behind them at 12-2. Damien, do you think that should there be legitimate championship talk for the Connecticut Sun, or are they just a regular season team in your opinion?
So you know who the Connecticut Sun are? They're basically the Celtics.
Okay,
they've been in the semis and the finals multiple times over the past few years, but just have never been able to get over the hump. I'm still hesitant on saying like they're gonna be like front running for the title because they're not a good 3-point shooting team. Their best player is a Draymond Green clone. She got one arm. She averages like what 13, 9, and 8 or some solid like that, which is great in the W. But when it comes to a team needing a bucket, as much as I like DeWanna Bonner, I don't think she's consistent enough that you can rely on her like in clutch moments. That's why I think when it comes to the playoffs, they constantly fail and don't get over that hump. So like they're going to have a great regular season record. What also helped them is they played a lot of sorry teams to start off the season. I think they played the Fever like 3 times. They played like Atlanta and a couple other teams that's struggling to start off. So it kind of like bolstered up their record. Their one loss was the first game they played against the Liberty. So like the first time that they had a tough matchup, they lost. A team that I think is going under the radar that could be a real competitor for the championship is Minnesota. Minnesota is solid. Like their starting lineup is solid. Nafisa Collier is having an MVP season that's going under the radar. Like Dante said, Caleb McBride's a hooper. You got Alana Smith from Australia that's real versatile, tall, can shoot, defend, rebound, pass, do all that. So I think, to me personally, I think the Lynx are going to be a tougher matchup in the playoffs than the Sun come playoff time.
I didn't know the Lynx were tied. Well, I would say they have the most because I don't think they count the Houston Comets, which is bullshit. But I didn't know they had 4 WNBA championships. I didn't know.
Oh, nigga, bro, they ran it. Maya Moore, nigga. Maya Moore, Simone Augustus.
If it was not for Maya Moore's husband, we wouldn't be having some of the conversations we having, my nigga. Like, I think people forget how Maya Moore was a fucking dog, bro. Like, and that might be an understatement of selling Shorty short, but like, no, Minnesota, they were cold.
They got 4 basketball Hall of Famers on a team when they had they run. Like they was them niggas in like the 2010s until like Dante said, till Maya went love after lockup and left the game.
Dante, real quick, then we're gonna wrap this up, man. Are you have any confidence in the Connecticut Sun, or you with Damian that they just kind of regular season?
Damian hit the nail on the head, bro. They the Celtics. It's really now you got to prove it. You got to show it something. Like you said, AT Alyssa Thomas is a borderline walking triple double. DeWanna Bond is one of the best scorers in league history. Carrington, we see what she's done on the defensive end, and she's graduated from a bench player to a starter and has been extremely effective for them. So I think it's one of those things where we know you have the tools. Are you going to get over that hump? And to your point about them not having 3-point shooting, I think that is the issue, the offense, because as great as these teams are defensively, what we've seen watching the WNBA playoffs is they get points. Like they put buckets up. And if you can't get buckets, you're going to get ran out the gym. Yeah. And so like they end up having these issues every playoff. So it's not that I don't trust them or don't have faith in them. I know they're good. I know they're an extremely good basketball team, but it's just now you have to show everybody that you can get over that last hump, which is probably going to be New York.
Definitely, man. Damian, thank you for joining us per usual, man. How was your Father's Day weekend, bro? I know. You had a big one this weekend.
Yeah, I got a little tipsy.
That's
got a little tipsy. Went out to a couple of nice little barbecue spot in Claremont, and then you know me and Kristen, we bar hopped around the city until it was time to go home.
Yeah, if you bar hop with this couple, make sure you have a drinking experience. I had a headache that lasted me for like a day.
Bring your H2O.
Yeah,
brother. I'm gonna say, as a nigga who my brother's in the military, don't drink with them niggas,
nigga, I was at Damian's house for that Rams Super Bowl against the Bengals. We was drinking at 8 a.m.
Oh no. That was when we went to that Angels game. Came over at like 9 in the morning. I said, nigga, tequila. Let's go.
Motherfucker, at 9 a.m. You want a shot? No, I don't want a shot. I want breakfast, bro. What are you talking about?
We went to that brewery across the street from Angel Stadium.
Yeah.
Then we drank. We went to that little tequila bar in Angel Stadium, and then we went to Shannon's, which at that point I didn't know what planet I was on. At that point, nigga, like
nigga was walking in the kitchen like, yeah, make my wings like this.
Oh yeah. That Damian and Kristen ran Shannon's, bro. Y'all. I never seen somebody walk in the kitchen, tell them how to make some. I didn't look. I paid for the only thing I paid for. I had a lot of drinks. The only thing I paid for was the wings that night. That's all I paid for, man. So shout out to y'all, man. But Damian, you can follow Damian. I'm Velvet Jones on Twitter, man. We'll holler at you soon, G.
All right, y'all. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Before we bring Courtney and Mikey in, we are going to pay some bills. We're actually not paying bills. We just got a little break joint. So we'll be back in a couple seconds for hour 2 if I'm not gonna hold you.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah, we code too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news, money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the
And we are back, and the crew is back. We've got Mikey and Courtney in the building. You can follow Mikey at Junior_Solito. You can follow Courtney at 1-800-CALLER-BRO. We've got mostly, and Bang is sitting aside because he knows we're going to be talking majority baseball. So he will be back in the local hour. But how are y'all feeling? Mike, how you feeling, bro? You on mute. That is the first fine. We back.
Wow, we are back. I'm good, man. I'm good. Had a good weekend. Spent it with the fam. Saw the Tank fight. Got to kick it with my people. So I'm good. How y'all feeling?
Doing pretty good, man. Pretty good. I had a nice chill weekend. Nice. My dad had a good Father's Day weekend, so that's good. He had a good time. So I don't have kids, so I was amazing. Courtney, how was your weekend?
Oh, nice and quiet. Not too much going on, man.
Definitely.
Scott, real quick.
Yeah.
How many of y'all niggas is it? Because I saw the picture of 4 of y'all. Are those your other brothers?
No, that's my cousins.
That was Jaceris and Johitis.
I'm about to say, what the fuck? Where everybody else come from?
Nah. Two of them, they don't look like cousins. 2 of them look exactly like brothers. I'm like, hey,
those are my first cousins. That's my mama's sister's kids. So yeah, they the ones. So they basically, in Chicago, you heat niggas, but they the one. When I was young, they like 4 or 6 years older than me. So I would always get made fun of when I was a kid. They would like put me through hell. When I finally got both of them niggas, it was like I won the championship. The crown has been turned over to me. But no, that was my cousins. They pulled up. So I was like, let me get this because y'all look at my bodyguards right now. I'm just gonna take this picture real quick.
I was looking at that shit. I was looking at that shit like Tommy Davidson. Who are these niggas? Who are these people?
That don't get it twisted. There was firearms around. We were walking distance from O Block. So let's not get it twisted. Niggas, the old neighborhood ain't what it used to be, niggas.
Oh no, not at all.
So, but before we get into in the second hour, we're gonna be talking about just a little football, mainly baseball. From the Hot Corner podcast. If you're not into it, y'all need to check it out because these 3 people here, David, I know baseball, but David make me feel slow when I talk about baseball. That's how good these 3 know baseball. So if you're not in tune with the Hot Corner podcast, you can go out there and catch it right now. Episode 2 is available on all streams. So check that out. We're gonna talk some baseball in just a minute. But last night, the return of one of the biggest TV shows out there, House of the Dragon. By the way, me and Dante will be doing an in-depth breakdown on Cinema with the Guys tomorrow, so check that out. But the Game of Thrones scene, no matter how many people, I feel like the finale was real. You either loved it or you hated it. Most people hated it, but the fact that we're still live tweeting these shows, the only show that I still see get live tweeted 5 years after that, just shows you the importance of the brand. But we're not gonna spend too much time on this, but Courtney, what did you think about last night's episode?
I mean, the one thing that I have really taken away just so far from this show is that they've done a much better job of giving maybe a little bit more context, just because we got to see more of the backstory with them as children, right? And then see them kind of grow up into adults, and how that formulated their sort of worldview. Whereas we didn't really get that, obviously, in Game of Thrones. It just started out right with adulthood. Now, I will say it does feel almost a little bit rushed for me, just because in the first season we watched, they went from children to adulthood. If the whole first season started out with just their whole childhood, second season into adulthood, I felt like it, I don't know. I feel like we're skipping a lot in the, obviously I know they got to move the story along, but I feel if you've read the book, then yeah, it's moving a little fast.
Yeah, and there's a lot in this story too. That's why it's such a big story. And HBO don't like signing shows on for too many seasons. We know they just picked it up for season 3 already before it aired. But I saw some people complain about that, and I haven't read the books. But I'm one of them niggas who, even with comic book movies, I'll go and see the main points of the story, so I'm not lost, but I'm not gonna sit down and read the whole book.
One big thing from the book that was different, man, Blood and Cheese in the book, they were very, very bad in terms of what they did. It was a lot more brutal than
what we saw last night.
The little boy's neck off in the book.
We heard,
Yeah. That shit was
I feel like OG Thrones would have showed that. I feel like first couple seasons of Thrones would have probably showed that, which is something that I peeped.
Also, that was another big difference for me, is this season and this show itself, the characters seem a lot more fucking savage in terms of their means to an end. And I guess it's happening faster, and that's why it seems like that. But I don't know listen, we know Jamie in the first episode fucking pushed Bran off the tower, but a young child, like the little, what was that? Was Jaharis like 5 or 6?
Yeah. He's 5. Yeah,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, Luke was what, 12 when that dragon burnt him to a crisp. But Mikey, what'd you think about last night's episode?
I was fucking with it. I mean, me and my girl, we were running back like the last 3 episodes a little early in the day, so I just had like 4.5 hours straight of House of the Dragon. So I thought it was dope. I understand the people that have read the books, kind of their complaints on it, like stuff being missing. I just feel like you got to understand, like when it comes to like really huge book adaptations being put on the screen, like you have to give a little, to get some. So I don't really have any issues with it there. But I was fucking with it. Mikey ran out of PTO. Yeah, I gotta re-up. I'm like when school starts and you already done missed like 4 days and it's the first month. That's me. But don't worry, I'll get right and I'll still graduate with my class. Right. But no, I thought it was dope. I wonder if because it was a child, they didn't really like show like an actual beheading. We know Thrones is gruesome, but like if you kind of think back, they never really actually show harm to a child. I will say I felt the way when they kicked that dog. That shit is not cool.
A lot of people felt away when they kicked the dog. Yeah.
I was like, hold on, I didn't see that no animals were harmed in this disclaimer. What the fuck? But I was fucking with it, man. Really dope episode. Really good first episode.
Yeah. Me and Dante go
Allison.
Hey, man, I almost turned the team green, brother.
Boy, she was getting it in. She was getting it in, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She's active. Okay.
I need that King's Landing OnlyFans promo code.
Promo code. They ain't got soap.
3 shillings a month, my nigga. She got
you. Dante, what's your brief feelings on it? Of course, we're gonna go, in depth on it tomorrow.
In order to hear my views, please subscribe to the Patreon for $5. And that's all I got for you.
That's all you got for it. Saint, I'll say this. Great start to the show, to the season. I haven't watched anything Thrones related in 2 years since the last season went off. Like, it had me, I ran back season 1 of the original Thrones today. I was like, I ain't done a rewatch in like 3 years. I made me start my rewatch. So I'll go more in depth tomorrow, but I'll just say for the first episode, I was pleased. When I saw the title was Son for a Son, I was like, oh yeah, we getting to it. I didn't think they'd be killing kids in the first episode. But I had to rewatch because I thought that Damon was gonna be pissed about them getting the wrong kid, but I didn't see it. He smirked when they asked him, oh, if we don't get, oh boy, what you want us to do?
Yeah, and I will say this. I will throw this out there about it. The cinematography was still A1, amazing. Bro. Like some flat out great fucking shots.
Yes.
Yeah.
That shit's crazy.
Just some flat out great shots, bro. So like I said, I'm expecting great things from this show, and like I love what I saw at episode 1.
And if you want to see our full thoughts on this, you can subscribe. Patreon.com/Barbershop Network. Cinema with the guys. We'll be back tomorrow. If anybody who missed who think we missed our Entourage drop dates last 2 days, Dante was sick, man. We gotta give it to him. He powered through the last Hot Corner episode, so we will be back on Thursday. So
he was fighting for your life.
He was fighting for his life. But let's get on to actual sports. Let's talk about real quick before we get into our baseball, because we got a decent amount of baseball to talk today. And I got a lot more to bring to the conversation because I've been watching the last 2 weeks, nigga. I'm starting to get all the way locked in again. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was announced today by NFL media that the Hard Knocks trifecta has been completed. Of course, we know the newly debuted off-season Hard Knocks is going to be the New York. That's going to be next month, which will be on HBO Max. Of course, the OG, the training camp special, will be our Chicago Bears, and the in-season one, for the first time ever, will be a division that they're going to cover. This will be the AFC North. If we couldn't get the NFC North, which we knew was going to be off the table because the Bears doing training camp, AFC North was the next best. It will be debuting December 3rd, and this will take them from the season, middle of the season, all the way through the playoffs, as they did last year. with the Miami Dolphins. I think this is an excellent choice. You got 4 teams there that there's all good storylines around. You got the MVP and the reigning AFC North champions in the Baltimore Ravens. You've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, Mike Tomlin just got a new extension. You're gonna see maybe Justin Fields is starting by the time. Maybe Russ get hurt. If I kind of feel like I'm rooting for Russ to get hurt, I'm not. But I would love to see Justin play. But you're gonna have that storyline.
Nigga.
What? I'm just saying. I'm not rooting for the man to get hurt. But I know that's gonna be the only way that Justin's gonna be on the field. If Russ get hurt, I'm gonna be like Drake when KD got hurt in 2000 NBA final. I'm like, oh no, man. Oh no. But you got that storyline. You got Freaky Sean and them boys over there in Cleveland. And then also Cincinnati. You got Joe Burrow back. What's that gonna look like? The T. Higgins situation. Jamar Chase is up for a big payday. That's gonna be very, very entertaining. Mikey, what did you think about this announcement? What are you excited to see from this in-season Hard Knocks?
Yeah, I think we kind of were predicting that this will be the conference they go with if it wasn't the Bears that got the main training camp edition of Hard Knocks. So I'm interested just to see kind of like you have a lot of personalities, like you said, quarterback wise. You have a really true black and blue division. I mean, that division is always consistently putting out about 3 playoff teams a year. So you can expect some tight races as long as the Burrows, the Lamars, and the Deshaun's, the Russell Wilsons are healthy this year. For me, I want to see Lamar. I want to see the type of start that the Ravens get off to this year. Are they going to have a start like last year where they ran out the gate and they kind of like you knew that they were going to be the 1 seed in that division, or is it going to be a little bit closer? Come December time, and let's see, with their offensive game plan and how are they going to go ahead and allow, Lamar to throw more. So I want to see more of that dynamic. And then outside of that, I want to see Cleveland. I want to see, what they do with Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of pressure on them. There's a lot of pressure on him, especially when, you go ahead and you trade for him, you give him all of that money guaranteed. And then the guy that you let walk out the door, Baker Mayfield, has quietly, played really well at the quarterback position and was kind of playing well in Cleveland before they let him out. So this is a huge bounce back season for Deshaun Watson. If if he has it capably in him, to go ahead and put the Browns on his back. They have wide receiver weapons. They have we know about that defensive line. So I want to see that dynamic with him, because if they falter this year with Deshaun Watson and it's because of him, then there's going to be some questions to be had, this offseason at what they do with the quarterback position.
Definitely. There's a lot of storylines with him, and I think both Ohio teams, there's a lot of pressure on both of them. Courtney, what are you looking forward to seeing in this Hard Knocks?
I'm really not. I hate reality TV and Bravo, fucking Real Housewives, Hard Knocks. I hate it all the same. I feel like you have to like almost kind of conjure up storylines to a degree. For what, man? I don't care. Just play fucking football. Just play football.
That was very shocking. I think you're probably the only woman I know who don't like.
I hate that shit. It's all just so fake and contrived. Like, it's not actual reality television. And also, if I'm a player, I wouldn't even want that shit all up. First off, you're just inviting additional media scrutiny. You're already under a microscope as is. And now you're inviting cameras into your highly performance-based fucking workplace for more media scrutiny. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I hate Hard Knocks.
Go ahead, Dante.
If you great, that shit don't matter. Like fuck all that. Like, I feel you, especially like because reality TV, as we all know, is not reality. Like, it is scripted in some ways, some way, shape, or form. They find a way to fit it to what they wanted to do. But I think in terms of this division, this is gonna be great television. Like, because we talk about the battles in this division every year, and then you already have the new storylines that have been added with Russell Wilson, with Justin Fields, with the stinker that Lamar put up in the playoffs. You feel me? And like you said, the return of Joe Burrow. So I think
I didn't want to say it.
This one is gonna. Oh yeah, no, we're gonna let your racism slide today. But this group of teams is perfect for Hard Knocks, and even with who else is in that division? It's I'm missing somebody.
The Bengals, the Steelers, the
Bengals, Steelers, Browns, and Browns. Yeah, even with buddy who played quarterback in Cleveland. You know, they got some things going on. They're trying to figure out. So it's a lot of different storylines to where this one.
Yeah, and I really don't want to see that under the jail.
69
they're gonna do
God.
they're gonna do that. They're gonna do that to Freaky Man, but
69 God.
It's gonna be a good show.
Let's move on to some baseball, which is, you know, we're in the middle of the baseball season. We are actually probably got like a month until All-Star break, man. It's time to talk about, you know, awards. You know, we get into the award season part. We'd like to predict who should be favorites and things of that nature. So I want to talk about AL and NL MVP favorites. I'm gonna shoot it to I'm gonna actually go to Mikey first. Who do you, in your opinion, should be the favorites for both awards?
Well, for the NL, I'm gonna start off with Ohtani. Now, before Mookie got hurt, yesterday he was leading. It was kind of neck and neck between him and Ohtani. Mookie's having a ridiculous season. It's a shame that he got hurt. But I really like Ohtani. Either talk of them putting him into the leadoff spot. We know how dangerous that's going to be. You're giving him an extra at bat now. So I'm going to take Ohtani. You have Ohtani right now as a favorite at plus $200. You throw $100 down, he'd win 200. Bryce Harper is second at plus 350. And my wild card, Marcell Ozuna. A lot of people do not know that Marcell Ozuna is in the Triple Crown race, and he's leading in two categories. It's going to be very, very close. So they have no Ronald Acuna. He's been their best bat all season. It would be a long shot, but you know, I think he's somebody that's going to be in their top three at the end of the year. But I'm going to ride with Ohtani on the NL, and on the AL right now, it's kind of hard to argue against Aaron Judge. The AL is, I mean, you know, you have Bobby Witt and Gunnar Henderson second. Juan Soto, you know, is right there behind them. But what Aaron Judge has been doing since May 4th is ridiculous. Like, he's leading in every offensive statistic category in all of baseball. Everything, home runs, extra base hits, OPS, RBI, everything you could think of, he is leading since March 4th. So it's going to be, I think, Aaron Judge and Ohtani this year. And it's kind of fitting because Ohtani was the, you know, kind of a reason that Judge didn't win a couple MVPs before in the AL. So now he's kind of got that lane now that Ohtani's gone.
What you think, Courtney?
Yeah, no, I feel just about the same as Mikey. For me, it's Ohtani. Poor Mookie, you know, because it was really looking like it could have actually been his year, which, again, it's kind of hard to stand out when you're on a team full of MVPs. Like, you have three guys who could all, you know, at the end of the season, very likely make a case for MVP. So I can only imagine how hard it is to stand out on that team. But no, Aaron Judge is on another fucking planet right now. We got to just let him cook and let him keep cooking. And it sucks because, again, the next best player is also on his team. So I'm really just, honestly, I'm hoping and praying for a Dodgers-Yankees World Series, because that would be fucking electric.
I need that like I need air. I need that desperately.
Yeah, no, especially the Braves fucking crumbling. But no, I agree. It's really, especially with the American League, it's hard to argue against Aaron Judge right now. He is going nuclear. You know, he had somewhat of a slow start, but he's now outpacing his 62 home run season. So we could have a potential to see another historic season from him. So it's going to be tough to go against him. Like we said in the beginning of the year, Bobby Witt Jr., if the Royals do anything, you know, Bobby is, you know, the head of the snake on that team, and he's been amazing so far. So I could see Bobby getting some votes. But it's going to be Aaron Judge's award to lose unless he, you know, gets his usual 2-week, 3-week IL stint, and that knocks off his numbers a bit. But it's going to be tough to beat him. And with the National League, even sitting here trying to say a name besides Shohei, like who the fuck can we actually
who
pick?
would even be a candidate? Like,
the candidate. Yeah, if you're looking at Bryce, and even though the Phillies are having an amazing year, it's not like Bryce is like having like that crazy year.
Yeah.
You know, Tatis has been going fucking crazy the last week and a half, 2 weeks, so he's kind of up there. And then, like I said, Ozuna, like, it'll have to be somebody from a team that's not, you know, it'll be somebody new, you know, Fernando. or Tati or Fernando or Marcelo Zuna, because maybe somebody like Freddie Freeman, as a long shot, seeing what he can do behind Otani. But the crazy shit, Dante.
Otani's probably going to move to leadoff now that Mookie's hurt.
Yeah.
See what Otani does from the leadoff spot.
Yeah, his OBP is gonna go up. We know that he takes pitches. He's not somebody that swings out of his shoes. But Dante, to your point about Aaron Judge, like he's not the AL. The way the AL MVP race is right now, yeah, he's minus 125, which is almost like it's like almost it's getting close to like a lock. Like he's the odds-on favorite. But with the season that Gunnar Henderson is having, the season that Bobby Witt Jr. are having, and the season that Juan Soto is having, if he were to miss any time this year, he's not like Otani last year, where Otani missed like a grip and it was like, yo, he just ran away with it. Like there are names there that can legitimately surpass him.
I was just gonna bring it up too, Mikey. Like which you just named with Gunnar Henderson, with Bobby Witt Jr. and even his own teammate Juan Soto. Like I feel like the AL definitely has more competition, but with the younger guys, do you think even when it comes down to voting, let's just say he missed 2 weeks and the numbers are close, don't you think they'll probably still give the edge to Judge because he's Aaron Judge?
It depends where the Orioles and the Yankees fall, to be honest with me, because they'll say, if you look at it right now, Aaron Judge and Juan Soto are carrying the Yankees offensively. Verdugo también, but they got a 1.5 game lead over the Orioles. It's not like they ran away with that division. So you can go ahead, the voters can go ahead and make the case saying, the Orioles surpassed the Yankees with Aaron Judge out, but Aaron Judge's numbers were so crazy that it shows that he was the true MVP, because without him, who knows where they would have fallen type of situation. It's going to come down to that East Coast bias as well. We know that they prefer guys on the East Coast. So does that omit somebody like Bobby Witt Jr. because he's in the Midwest? And, Gunnar Henderson is batting leadoff and hitting a home run almost every night, it seems like. So we'll see. But Judge can't have a stretch where he's out for a month, because if he does, then I think it's over for him at the MVP race, just because of where those other guys are numbers-wise behind him.
Yeah, and we'll get into the AL East race in a minute, but I want to stay on the National League for a minute, man. It's been a rough weekend for the Dodgers, despite the fact they were able to take 2 out of 3 from the Royals this past weekend. They got hit with the injury bug pretty heavy. Mookie Betts, Mikey, when you put in the chat last night about Mookie's injury, I didn't see it. Then I watched it last night. You could hear how loud it was through the TV when that baseball hit. What I thought was originally was his wrist. It's a fractured hand. It doesn't need surgery. Dave Roberts says he doesn't know how much time he's going to miss, but he's going to be out for a while. I don't want to mess up Yamamoto's first name, so I'm just going to say
Yoshinobu
Yamamoto. Yep. Yamamoto. He was having a real good start on Saturday, but you notice his velocity was starting to go down, and they took him out in the second inning. Come to find out, he had a strained rotator cuff. And that one sounds more serious than Mookie's injury. The fact that David Robbins even brought up, we don't think it's season ending, but it's going to take a long time. That's scary to think. Now, they still have a really good rotation. They've got enough on offense, I believe, like with Freddie Freeman and obviously Shohei Ohtani. Teoscar Hernandez has been playing really, really good. I do think this ups the need for a certain center fielder who might be playing center field in the south side of Chicago, if they wanted to get him. But Dante, what do you think? How do these injuries impact the Dodgers, or are they just so stacked what's not going to hurt them as much as it would hurt some other team?
I think it doesn't hurt them, but given their shortcomings in the past, they're going to make a move. Like, if it's one thing we've seen with the Dodgers, like the reason they've lost, they should have, in my opinion, at least 3 World Series, has been the pitching. So when you have a guy like Yoshi, who you brought over to be one of the anchors of your rotation, and now he's out, and it's a question of when he's coming back. He's going to come back before the season's over, but what will he come back as? The full Yoshi, or will he be on the innings limit? Will we be watching him now? Will it be more of a just taking it easy because it's his first year in the major league? So I think, you mentioned Luis Robert, but I know the White Sox said they weren't trading Garrett Crochet, but I think if you're the Dodgers, you definitely make the call. because the Dodgers are now in win now mode for the foreseeable future. But also, one thing we know about the Dodgers is they still draft well. They've been able to make a lot of the big moves they make because they can draft and develop talent and then just flip them. So if I'm, the Dodgers, I definitely call the White Sox to check in on Robert and on Garrett Crochet. But I don't think it hinders them. But knowing what we know about the Dodgers and knowing what their shortcomings have been over the past couple of years, they're not going to stand pat no matter how good this team is. They're going to just keep doing what the Dodgers do. And, we're going to look up at the deadline in about a month, about 40 days. And they're going to have another all-star on that roster. So I'm not worried about it.
Courtney, you are one of the resident Dodger fans. Are you nervous?
I mean, it's fucking Mookie Betts, and not only is it just Mookie Betts, it's Mookie Betts having a monster season, right? So yeah, that's a huge loss. I would say the bigger loss is probably Yamamoto, just because the Dodgers' struggles in past seasons has been their pitching. Bobby Miller is coming off the IL. Clayton Kershaw is scheduled to go start in single A here, I think on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So, again, who knows what he's going to look like when he comes back, but that's another big arm coming back for the Dodgers on the horizon. Now, keep in mind, Yamamoto also did throw 100 plus pitches in his previous 4 starts. So I wouldn't blame the guy if he's maybe a little bit fatigued. It's a tough league to adjust to. I would understand if he's tired. I hope he's not, too bad. The Dodgers have some decent bats in the wings. Miguel Vargas, who they're going to call up from AAA, it has OPS of over 1,000 right now. I think it's like 1,005, something crazy. He gets on base a lot. Not a bad guy to have. You have Kike Hernandez, who can help out. You have Kevin Biggio that they just got from the Blue Jays. Speaking of Blue Jays, Bo Bichette, you might need a change of scenery, dog. Let's talk. And also, speaking of the White Sox, who's quietly having a nice season in an otherwise terrible situation? Paul DeJong. I'm just saying, if we're already going to make the call, I'm pretty sure his contract's over at the end of the season. Is just a 1-year deal. I'm just saying that could be something worth exploring. Get him out of the ghetto. No offense, guys. Actually, all the offense.
I don't get offended by things that don't hurt me anymore. I'll say this, and then we'll go to Mikey. I think that, it hurts them. I'm more worried about the Yamamoto injury than I am with Mookie. I think when Mookie comes back, he'll just get right into the stack lineup. But it's the reason you gave Shohei Ohtani basically the state of California. It's the reason why you got Freddie Freeman. So if you did lose somebody like Mookie Betts, it doesn't hurt the same way as the other team it hurt. But you hit the nail on the head, Dante. They're going to make a move. This isn't like one of these teams where they're penny pinching, they're worried about this. No, they know that they put all this money into this team. They know this is a World Series of bust year, like it's been the last probably 5 years, World Series of bust for this franchise. They're going to capitalize on that. Whether it's the players we just named, or maybe a name that we don't even know is even available, and they find a way to get them. But I think they'll be able to at least get through this. They're in their division right now. They're up 7 games, 8 games right now on the Padres. The Padres aren't going to be sneaking around them anytime soon. I think as long as they're able to get both of them back by playoff time, I think they'll be okay. Mikey, what do you think about these 2 injuries and if it affects the Dodgers at all?
Well, it certainly affects them just because they're already thin when it comes to their starting rotation. They also placed Gavin Stone on the IL with the injury. He had, I think, some tricep tightness as well. So they're thin there. They're still waiting to see what they can get out of Kershaw, if anything. But to be honest, they're set up well at the shortstop position for now to hold the fort with Miguel Rojas coming off the bench to start full time. A lot of people, he's not a really household name for those that, don't follow baseball, every day, like myself and the couple of my other co-hosts here. But he's going to come in right away and he can play solid shortstop every day. He's a starter on most teams, most teams in Major League Baseball. So they have a replacement there. The thing that is kind of unfortunate is they were already kind of considering throwing Mookie back out in the outfield just because they're not really getting a lot of production out of there, like consistent production. So they were possibly looking at a Bo Bichette and going and adding somebody to throw at shortstop and moving Mookie back to the outfield. The Yamamoto injury, I've been reading a lot on it. They're not really that, it's not considered that serious, and he's expected sometime soon. So if he misses 15 days and he gets one start before the All-Star game, cool. But Mookie Betts is a legitimate 2 to 3 month injury. That's a fractured hand. So you're looking at end of August, early September. If that, you still got to get your timing back. Fortunately for him, it wasn't his throwing hand. It was his left hand. It's his glove hand. We'll see if because of that injury and based on what moves they make back to protect him, if they do go ahead and throw him back out in right field and acquire another shortstop that they feel more comfortable out there fielding, for the rest of the season until he can get that hand strength back. But Dante mentioned somebody like Garrett Crochet. Why not Eric Fetty? Eric Fetty is on a cheap deal. He's pitching very, very well. It's not a fluke. He went back to, he went to Japan, came back, and he found something over there. That's somebody that you don't anticipate the White Sox keeping long term. Garrett Crochet, he's only making $800,000. Like, I would not be thirsty to push him out the door. I understand that you can get a haul for him, quote unquote, but
he's also on an innings limit too.
Correct. He's on the innings limit. And if I were the White Sox, I would just be going to him and being like, hey, what can we do to, let's start talking contract extension. But we know the White Sox are.
Mikey, did I hear this wrong? Did they say that was I don't know if I heard this wrong, but was there a rumor that he might not even pitch the rest of the year because of the innings limit?
No. Yeah. We have brought that up on the hot corner before. He's already approaching, he's already pitched more innings this year than he has in the last couple seasons since the Tommy John injury. So it's going to be buyer's risk for whatever team that acquires him, especially like a team like the Dodgers, that's going to need innings, obviously, because you're down a couple starting pitchers in your rotation. So somebody like Eric Fetty makes complete sense. He's been eating innings. He's been going deep into games. He knows how to pitch. He's not going to hit you with 96, 97, but he's going to work all quadrants. He's got his slider. He's got his changeup. I think it's perfect for them. The Dodgers are fine in the NL West. So, that's not really nothing to worry about. But it's about right now. Yeah, eight and a half games.
Eight games.
So it's about going out there and getting somebody that can go ahead and just man the ship. You could throw out there, and they can do a lot worse than what they have been throwing out there. There's a couple of days they're going out there throwing, openers. So I think somebody like Eric Fetty and maybe a Paul DeYoung, or I don't know if Luis Robert. I really don't know if that's something that Chris Getz and those guys on 35th and Shields really want to entertain right now. But there are some other guys out there. I mean, prior to this last week, the Red Sox have been going crazy, but Tyler O'Neill is a serviceable bat you could throw in the outfield. So there's some guys out there that, David Dahl, Trey Turner just came back today for the Phillies, so he's back in the lineup. David Dahl might be somebody that has to go back down to the minors as far as just a body. Is that a left-handed bat you go and you get and throw in the outfield? So they're going to have to get creative. I just think right now they're fine. It comes to no surprise with Yamamoto too, because he just threw a career high 107 pitches in the Bronx his last start. That was his last start in the Yankees. 7-inning pitch, 3 hits, 7 Ks. Come out, off, and I think they gave him extra rest too. And that's something that I've noticed with the Japanese pitchers this year. The Cubs have gone and gave Shota Imanaga extra rest. They gave him 10, 11 days, in between starts, and that fucked them up. So, we'll see what happens there. But for now, Ohtani, Freeman, Teoscar, Will Smith, they're just going to have to man the ship. And, but it's hard when you're losing somebody batting 305, 10 homers, 40 RBIs, can play has a serviceable glove at shortstop, has a gold glove in right field, and that's your spark plug. He gets shit started. So they'll be all right, but you got to see, you're looking at September for him, to be honest.
Yeah, and when the Yamamoto news is good, because when I heard Dave Roberts, it might have been right away, so he didn't know maybe they got more information later, because he was giving the death sentence. We don't think it's season ending, so it's good to hear that it's probably not going to be that long. And the Mookie thing is tough, but like I said, that's why they pay Freeman and Shohei. It's time for them to really put the team on their back. Last baseball topic, man, before we get into the local hour, Bang will be joining us, as you see. That's what Courtney's on want to be here, because we're gonna be all Bears. We're gonna be all Bears, even though it is June 17th. Nigga.
Seek help, guys.
You know, it's June 17th. I found 4 good topics to talk about for the Bears. But we kind of talked about this when we had the MVP conversation a couple minutes ago. But I want to talk about this AL East battle that we got going on, man. The Yankees, they just became the first team in the MLB this week to win their 50th game. And you would think with the way they've been killing that they would have like an 8-game lead on the division. No, they are a game and a half behind the Baltimore Orioles, who are on a run right now. They just had a very impressive homestand, taking 2 out of 3 from the Philadelphia Phillies, and now they're getting ready for a 3-game set against the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium these next 3 nights. Courtney, what are you looking forward to seeing in this series? I know it's June, it's early.
Oh no, it's really not that early anymore. We're halfway through the season. And we've got teams, the Orioles are a game and a half back of the Yankees. It's really not that early anymore in this race specifically. Because honestly, I'm a little disappointed. I thought the AL East race would be a little bit more contentious this season. So I'm a little disappointed by the bottom half of the division, especially Toronto. Like, that has just been the most disappointing outcome that I could have expected out of that team. They are 35-36 right now, 13 and a half games back of the Yankees. Honestly, just go ahead and tear it down at this point. I think we're cooked. But no, I'm really, really looking forward to this series. I can't wait.
Dante, what you think? What you looking forward for in this series?
Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. This shit's about to be a fucking heavyweight bout. Like, I'm looking forward to the 2 really great teams, and I think with Baltimore is, bro, you always have to ask the question, like, shit, who's coming up next? Like, that farm system is beyond loaded. So every time you look up, like, when they need to possibly, tweak a thing here or there, or bring somebody up to get a little spark, they can do that. And they can do that without spending a lot or without, sending guys away. So I'm looking more, I want to see how the young guys react to this type of environment, because this is a very important series for both teams. And I expect fireworks. So I think it's going to be an amazing series, but I really want to see from the standpoint of Baltimore how their young guys start to react in knowing, like, okay, this is year 2 of where the expectations are high. How are we going to respond?
Yeah, I'm excited for this series as well. Also, because Garrett Cole's going to be making his season debut on Wednesday, on the mound Wednesday. So that's going to be big. They're going to throw him right into the fire against this team. I think this is something where this kind of means a little more for Baltimore than it does for the Yankees. Like, I think if the Yankees lose 2 out of 3, I don't think I'll look at them any different.
You should. After this weekend against the Red Sox, them dropping 2 games out of 3.
But this is why I shoot them some bail against the Red Sox.
They had no business losing those games.
This is why I shoot them bail against the Red Sox. They've been playing bad at Fenway in the regular season the last couple of years. And it's the Red Sox. It's like, even it's one of those things where I feel like stats and records go out the window when you play the Red Sox, because they know each other.
The Red Sox team also got a series win over the Phillies.
Yeah,
in Fenway, so.
They've been playing good this last week, but
in the other division, they would actually be doing relatively well. Unfortunately,
right? If Baltimore loses this a little bit, I'm that's I wanted to see a little bit more from them. But the way they played this past weekend, they can carry that on. That's gonna look good for them. If they can sweep, and I'm not saying they're gonna sweep. Now you first place, and that changes things a little bit.
I would like to see what the other Yankees, not named Soto and Judge, can do. I think they have a combined like 680. Pardon me, I'm misspeaking. I think they have like a combined 680 average OPS between the rest of them. And I know what you're thinking. Like, oh, if you take the best 2 players out of everybody's lineup, what's that look like? The Dodgers, without Ohtani and Mookie, still have a combined 723 OPS. So that it has nothing, I think the Orioles is like 696 OPS without their 2 best hitters. So like, I would like to see the rest of the Yankees step up, specifically at first, second, and third base. That would be nice to see a little uptick in the offense there. Otherwise, the Yankees really are going to, if they don't do something at the trade deadline to get some bats into that lineup, get a little bit more juice in there, and not just rely on Soto and Judge, they are going to regret it tremendously when it comes October.
Mikey, what are you looking forward to seeing in this showdown?
Well, I think this series lines up perfectly for the Yankees to kind of go ahead and give the Baltimore Orioles a little bit, like a little spanking, a dosage of what they gave the Royals last week. In game one, you have Albert Suarez going up against Nestor Cortez. That's probably the only game that the Baltimore Orioles have the pitching advantage in. They're going to go ahead and start rookie Kate Povich making his third start ever against Garrett Cole. That's going to be very tough. You're throwing a lefty versus right-handy dominant lineup. Then the very next day, you're throwing another lefty in Cole Irvin versus Luis Hill, who's probably starting the AL, All-Star game. So the pitching rotation lines up for the Yankees. They will be playing at home, and I just think it matches up. Bat wise, they're gonna load up with Judge, Stanton, Gleiber, DJ LeMahieu, Volpe. They're gonna have those right-handed guys in the lineup. So this is gonna, like you said, Scott, this is gonna be a big series for the Orioles to see where they're at, with their fellow rivals. They're not throwing, a Corbin Burns or Grayson Rodriguez, so we're not getting like a true playoff feel as far as, best for best on the mound. But it's going to be interesting, and to the Red Sox point, they're only 3 games out of the wild card spot. So they go to Toronto today. They start a 3-game series in Toronto today. Toronto's directly behind them. If the Red Sox continue this momentum, we might see them in an AL wild card spot by the end of this week. So it's really it. What was that?
I say you spitting.
Yeah, no. So we're really close right now. We're really close right now to seeing, how this East is going to shape out, and we're getting to that point right now, Courtney, as you said, where buyers and sellers need to, kind of reveal themselves.
And the Yankee schedule is definitely not getting any easier.
As of last week, the Red Sox were considered sellers. About 2 weeks ago, they were probably considered sellers. They dropped 2 to the White Sox. They went ahead and they were the team to allow the White Sox to get in that W column, but they've picked it up, beating the Phillies, beating the Yankees. Now you go to Toronto. Toronto had a very tough series with the Guardians as far as running through arms and bullpen arms outside of the game that Kevin Gausman started. Offensively, they're not really putting up runs like that in Toronto. So this is a perfect spot for the Red Sox to creep up. And, you got teams. You got the 2 central teams in the wild card spot. You got the Royals and the Twins. I think at the end of the day, only one of those teams is going to make it, and it's probably going to be another team from the East. So this is interesting. Middle of the week baseball. We probably are going to have the finals ending today, and to be able to be given a treat of Yankees Orioles, to kind of slow those wounds is pretty solid there, on the baseball front.
Yeah, that's the best way to, have it where you have 2 finals if you're a hockey fan that are going to end within the next 24 hours. It's the best way to start it to get back into baseball. But if y'all want more baseball talk, not subscribe, but just listen to the Barbershop Network, our regular podcast read. Check out the Hot Corner, which is Dante, Courtney, and Mikey each and every week. Breaking down all the hottest news in the MLB. Episode 2 is up right now. We're going to knock out episode 3 for y'all this week. Courtney, as usual, good to have you on. Just very quickly, do the Panthers wrap it up at the crib tomorrow?
Yeah. So that was a rough game that we had there on. Listen, I respect Coach Paul Maurice of the Florida Panthers for having the wherewithal to say, hey, if we do win this game, it's not going to be in goal. So resting Bobrovsky for the rest of that game. He did get pulled with about 5 minutes. I should say, into the second period after giving up 5 goals on 16 shots, and he just didn't have it that day. I will say I do think that they are absolutely going to wrap it up. The last time that somebody came back, well, first off, the last time we had a sweep in the Stanley Cup was in 1998. So it's not something that happened. Yeah, 1998. The Detroit Red Wings beat the Washington Capitals, if I'm not mistaken, in 98. So yeah, I think that was the last sweep that happened in the Stanley Cup Finals. That it's not something that happens often, but I will say Florida still only has to win 1 more. And even after Connor McDavid finally decided that he wanted to show up in the Stanley Cup Final, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference at this point. Panthers win in 5.
All right. We will holler at you on Friday. You can follow her 1-800-CALLER-BRO. We're going to take a quick break, and then it is time for the local hour. We're going to talk all Bears, man. We're going to bring J.R. Bain back in just a minute. We will be back.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah, we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the...
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Local Hours. We got the artwork pulled up right here. What we said, it's the local segment. How you go ahead, bang, hit the note. Go hit the note.
It's the local section.
This nigga said the local section. This nigga was drinking.
I thought it was this nigga to change the song and everything.
This nigga
All right, I'm gonna change him.
This nigga was drinking during the break. Bottle way. Nigga had him some little Don Julio. In the last hour and a half you had off. But before we get to the football, man, just gotta say again, starting July 5th, I'm not gonna hold you the off season. We will only be doing the show once a week up until week 1 of the NFL season. So I'm pretty sure the Celtics will close out tonight. So that means Friday will be the last show for the next 2 weeks. Then we back every Friday, July 5th, 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. on the West Coast. And that's going to be the schedule leading up until week 1. And speaking of week 1, let's just get right into it. I want to take a little bit of Bears PTSD, and I want to flirt with it a little bit right now. I want to talk about actual expectations that we need to have right now. He said, Bang said local section 8. That's hilarious. But I want to talk about there's been a lot of positive vibes just these whole last 2 months since Caleb's been drafted. I've been at almost every offseason practice. I've liked what I've seen. Even the rough days he's been bouncing back from them. But he's still a rookie. And I want to talk about some of the expectations we should have for his early season struggles, which I believe are going to happen. I mean, I can't remember who's the last rookie in the NFL who came out just killing out the gate, didn't really have any as a quarterback. Maybe Ben Roethlisberger or Joe Burrow, something like that. Go ahead.
I mean, bro,
CJ Stroud.
CJ didn't struggle. He just got hurt. Right. He didn't struggle. He just got hurt.
I just forgot. That was last year. Yeah.
CJ Stroud had 5 total interceptions. 3 of them were in one game. You know, like he was hooping.
Well, this is my thing, though. I think that a lot of people are overlooking that Tennessee game. And the reason why I kind of feel like that could be a rough afternoon for Caleb, that's because of how good I believe that secondary can be. Bang is looking at me like I'm completely full of shit right now. But I think that we need to prepare for the possibility of maybe it being a couple games before he really gets rolling. I'm going to go to Bang first. What are your expectations for any possible early season struggles for Caleb?
I mean, he a rookie. It wouldn't surprise me. I just don't expect it with the schedule and the team he's playing with. Is the difference between this situation and other situations is that you come into a team that was 7-10 that was the best defense in the NFL, you know, before the season was over with. Now you're going to play with that defense. So that defense should give you more of an opportunity to get up on the field. So, and you take advantage of teams like Tennessee. So could it be a letdown game? I think it's more of a letdown game for the team and not necessarily Caleb. The last part of that is, come on, man, what we've been used to this last couple of years. We've been used to quarterbacks throwing for 175, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. A letdown is worse than that. That's not going to happen.
Dante, what's your? I saw you shaking your head when I brought it.
You're not about to put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. I told you. I know. Like, fuck that. Ain't no struggle. What do you mean? What struggles do I expect? Nothing. I expect him to be great. What the fuck you talking about, bro? I'm done with all of that other extra shit. Like, no, I expect him to be extremely good. He didn't turn the ball over in college. He ain't gonna start now. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I don't think he's gonna go out there and just go full, air raid. I'm throwing for 400 every week. I'm not saying that, but I don't expect him to struggle. And I think one thing we need to really get out of the habit of, which we do, just because of Chicago, we can't fucking sit here and try to slice every single throw this man makes. And because he'll look up and have a game where he has 5 incompletions and people say, well, did you see how horrible that pass was? It's like, yeah, bro, but we won the game. And he threw for 250. What are you talking about?
But that's the era. That's the era of sports, journalism that we're in and how people view sports, it'll be, oh, he's ass, right away. He's ass. First incompletion. He's ass. Bust. But the Titans, honestly, they're not a bad team. There's still question marks with Will Levis, but they have made some solid additions this year that, when you look at it, Tony Pollard, L'Jarius Sneed, Calvin Ridley, Awuzie from the Bengals. I think there's still some holes on their defensive line and their offensive line.
That linebacker core,
the linebackers are terrible.
Linebacker cores
Correct. So that might be a game where we see Cole Kmet feast. That might be something where we see a lot of, Rome Odunze getting in the middle of the field, DJ Moore putting him in the slot, getting them open and kind of creating there. But I would, let's be real. We're Bears fans. How many times do we get excited for a week 1, the 100th game, the 100th, season of the Bears, to kick off the season, Bears Packers? We scored 9 fucking points last year.
Don't even get me started on that.
Last year, Packers Bears. We're geek. Jordan Love, Roger's gone. He fucking lit us up. So anything is on the table, but I'm gonna just go and say that I think that the Bears on paper match up with anybody, as Tyler O'Neill just hit a home run for the Red Sox. Also, Dante, flip that TV. Paul Skeens, baby. Paul Skeens is on the mound. But yeah, so it's really tough. It's gonna be tough. There's gonna be growing pains, but this team is set up the right way. That's why I keep saying Shane Waldron, Matt Eberflus. The pressure is now on to you. You know what I'm saying? Because Caleb is gonna have every built-in excuse that he deserves as a rookie, and it's on y'all to go ahead and not make this the Bugatti and the Bando meme. You know what I'm saying? Coach him up, put him in the situations for him to go ahead and excel from week 1. So it's gonna be really interesting to see, but I won't be shocked either which way. But I do think that the Bears come out and show us something. I think even from all accounts, Scott, of what you've told us, of other beat writer stuff we've seen, the offense is already in the passing game alone ahead of where they've been the last 2 seasons.
Yeah,
even through OTAs, they're already ahead. So it's like, okay, we can only go up from here because we know the running game is going to be the running game.
I think Adam Hogan hit the nail on the head when he said that where Caleb is right now was, where Justin was right last year is Caleb's floor. And look, I think, Mike, you hit the nail on the head on a lot of points that I wanted to say. Nothing will surprise me. No, I'm not saying I'm expecting it. I'm not saying that it's gonna happen. He could go out there, he can light him up. If he go out there 4 touchdowns, you might watch the show today after that. If you go out there 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, you will get a very lively local hour. I'm telling you that right now. I'm being in that press box doing 79th and Hallis yelling if that happens. But Mike, you brought up a great point. Last year, we were so hyped. Now, granted, different situation. Justin Fields is a different quarterback, but it's the Bears. And that's why I brought this question up. I remember how the energy, it was a good 75-degree day.
Man.
It was, they were screaming, fuck Green Bay all through.
Nigga, birds chirping.
Dirk album cuts. Jay Illa was playing Dirk album cuts. I was ready to fight somebody. It felt good. And Jordan Love went out there and looked like biracial Aaron Rodgers. I was just it didn't change.
His mom having tickets.
Yeah, I'm like, it didn't change. That game made me so mad. I didn't do post game. I went to this bar that was 2 minutes away from where the Sox play, and I drank in my sorrows, nigga. So I'm just saying everything's on the line. So I think the biggest thing here, and I'm gonna go back to you, Dante. I'm not Dante, but Mikey, because we were talking about this. To get to this point, we've been talking about preseason, and we know Matt Eberflus has whatever. We're the last two coaches, both Matts, have had weird preseason, I guess, regimens. I personally said I don't believe that Caleb Williams is going to play in the Hall of Fame game because they have 4 preseason games this year than the usual 3 because of the Hall of Fame game. Also, nobody ever plays the Hall of Fame game. I personally hope he does, because if I got to take a 6-hour drive to Canton, Ohio, I want to at least see him play a couple snaps. But what do you think they can do for the preseason to get Caleb as prepared as possible, so where we're not even really worrying about struggles come week 1, week 2? Because that first 3 games, that can say a lot. Those first 3 games are not easy. Like Tennessee, you can get got if the team in general overlooks them. You got the Texans at the crib on Sunday Night Football, and the Colts is not going to be an easy game as well. How do you think that he can prepare them with these preseason games?
By playing them. I think you prepare them by playing them. You prepare him by getting the amount of the correct amount of reps that he needs. Like, it's not only a new quarterback, there's a new center to quarterback exchange, and they still haven't clearly identified who is going to be the starter. Is it going to be Bates? Is it going to be I forgot the other dude that they picked up from the Rams? I forgot his name, but like, you still haven't identified.
They've been switching them out. They've been switching them out.
Right. So you haven't identified that yet. There's no clear-cut center. He's still, like they said, got to get the cadence right. He also has to learn just how to play from under center. So I think you go out there, even in the Hall of Fame game where you said nobody really plays. I say you go out there, you throw him out there so he can get the jitters off. You put him under center, 3 straight handoffs, just to get him out there, just to get him out there to get in the huddle, call the plays, direct his linemen, get him situated. And then you go ahead and you let him play those last 3 games. The way the NFL has set it up now this year they do have 4 preseason games, but there's still going to be a big gap. 10, 12 days before they before they go into week 1, their first game, against the Titans. So I think that it's going to be important that they go out there, give him the amount of reps that he needs. Don't do that shit where they say, Coleman Shelton. Yeah. Well, if I don't know his name, then what do you say? What do you say, bro? If you got 2 quarterbacks, you got none. You got 2 centers, you ain't got 1. So good luck to both of those men. So that's going to be interesting there. And I just think also, don't pull that bullshit that you pulled with Justin last year against the Colts, where we got some really good work against the Colts in the scrimmage games, and we saw that. But when all accounts, Justin didn't look good in those scrimmage games, and they had said Anthony Richardson looks like the better quarterback. He's lighting it up. Don't do that. Go ahead and get Caleb game reps. Go and get Rome Odunze game reps. Go ahead and get Tyreek Stevenson, some reps out there, at cornerback. So they don't got to play every fucking game, but don't go ahead and shortchange this, because this is not the year for that. The rebuild is over. This is now the time for Eberflus, Waldron, everybody to go ahead and show that, hey, we made the right decision on moving on from Justin, and we have the right people leading this staff.
Ben, do you have something to add before we go to the next topic? Because
they better play that boy, and they better give him some reps. They not man.
Upset at the thought of it.
It's just thinking about it. Like, y'all better not do that dummy. Please do not. But again, our expectations of Bears quarterbacks is so low that I don't know if he can throw 200 yards and 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and I won't be like, oh man, well, get him next time. Like I'm used to my quarterbacks not throwing over 200 yards now, fam. So anything is an improvement when it gets to this.
Yeah, I'm with y'all. I think that he should play all 3. But I will personally be stunned if any of the starters play in the Hall of Fame game. I would love it. I think that will show them that they're taking all 4 games seriously. I think they're just going to run it all 3, and they're going to treat maybe the final one like a dress rehearsal, especially since there is a 10 to 12 game gap between the season opener. Bobby says in the chat, CJ played all preseason. That's standing for Caleb. Wherever the Texans did do that. I'm not disagreeing.
I agree.
I hope they do that. I hope they do that. I feel like that would take it. That would show they're 100% serious, because they did do that stuff last year with Justin. Like, this nigga was Patrick Mahomes. Like, we saw enough. Like, no, we didn't. No, we didn't at all. So I definitely think that's something that I hope changes. Let's go into an actual. I want to do a predictions for what we think his numbers will be this season. Now, I believe I got a fair number for this prediction. I think Dante's gonna cuss me out when he sees how many interceptions I have, but I'm gonna roll with this anyway because I know he did. I know he was not turnover prone in college. I'm not saying he's gonna be turnover prone here, but these are very skilled secondaries. It's different than college. So I have 3,800 yards. I've got 28 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. That is my projections for his rookie season. Dante, what do you got?
I'm not even gonna comment on what you just said, but what I got is
right.
I have 4,000
Did we
yards.
go through this out? Did we have this conversation already?
I'm telling you, I just think he's gonna throw more picks. I just really do.
I got 4,000 yards, and I'm willing to adjust that to 4,250. I'm gonna say 28 to 30 touchdowns. If we add in rushing touchdowns, I'll say 35 total. 35 total touchdowns.
Okay.
And 6 interceptions.
Okay. If we're doing total touchdowns, I'll do 36. I think he gonna run a couple.
Jesus Christ.
Because I had 28 as his throwing, so I think he can get 8 on the ground.
Yeah, and the reason I said 35 is because my whole thing is I'm basing it off of what I believe his talent is, and also the weapons he's going to be throwing to. It's not going to be what we're looking for, a Tank Dell and whoever else with CJ to have a breakout year. He has established wide receivers that are sitting here saying it's a race to 1,000 yards. So if you're telling me that, I expect them to be moving the chains all season.
Shout out, I got Greg Braggs in the chat. He says 60 touchdowns, maybe 70.
Yes,
maybe 70.
Maybe 70. We got to see.
If he throw for 40, if he throw for 40, I get a USC tattoo, my nigga. Like it's that serious. I swear to God, bro. If he light it up like that,
we'll fight on.
He throw for 40. I got the orange nails with the Chrome Hearts t-shirt. Same day. I'm sorry.
I will be at Soldier Field with my shirt off.
I'll be at Lee Nails on North Avenue in Kedzie. Getting my shit done.
We gonna be out of the day party with the nails?
Hey, no, Rags, we gonna clip it, bro. If he throw 40, bro. Matter of fact, I'll get Reggie Bush in the Heisman polls like this. You feel me? Like, I'll USC. I'm dead serious.
If that man throw 40 touchdowns, that man will never have to pay for nothing in Illinois, in parts of northern Indiana. Like he will automatically have the best season in Bears history forever. Like nobody would ever beat it. I don't even care. Like you can put a statue outside of Soldier Field or wherever that shit. If he throw 40, they're erecting the statue in 2026. G, like I'll be looking at him like, yo.
No. Man, what are your numbers for Caleb this year?
Man, 4150, 30 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I do believe we just so used to shit. We ain't used to this. I understand what your 38. I know we had that debate, but I understand your 38 because we ain't used to shit. But man, I guess what I'm saying is just look at the Eric Kramer year, some shit or something, fam. Look at that year where we could just look at the most mid quarterback
in franchise history.
Right, the 1 year, and you just say put 510 or something on it. Because the talent that we also got with him is unlike anything we've ever seen. I don't see how he don't get at least 4,000. I just don't. Now the 40
I said 38. I don't think that's that far off.
No, I'm just saying you make the trophy number the number. Like 38 sound cool. Like it's like when you turn 38, you're like, 40 is like, oh shit. Yeah, that's how it is the opposite. It's like 38. But if you hit that 40, that 4,000, it's like, yo, boom. No, I'm going with 41, 30, and 8.
Mikey, how you looking for him?
Man, I was reading something the other day. Only 5 rookie quarterbacks have ever thrown more than 23 touchdowns as a rookie. And CJ Stroud didn't even do it last year. So like that kind of goes to show you like it's not that easy, and we have to remember it's still the Bears. There's still going to be a very, very, very big emphasis on running the ball. They wouldn't go and pick up somebody like DeAndre Swift to complement Roshan. To complement, Roshan Johnson, to go ahead and complement Khalil Herbert. You go ahead and you pick up some extra tight ends. I think there's still going to be a heavy emphasis on running the ball, especially in the red zone. That's something that they do, regardless who the quarterback is, that they need to improve on this year is red zone, scoring 7 instead of 3. I got it at 27 total touchdowns. So I don't know how many he's going to have throwing. I don't know me passing.
Yeah. Cuss him out like y'all do me. I
think he can still get a little wiggle. Total 27. Yeah, okay. 27. If he gets you 27, 4K, and he's under 10 picks, I mean, y'all like, come on now, like y'all not taking that as a rookie compared to what we just saw. Compared to what we just saw, you know what I'm saying? Like we were going crazy defending Justin Fields for his 214-yard passing game. Like, let's be fucking for real. Like, I think he's gonna put up some crazy passing yardage games, but who knows? We get into the red zone, and hey, somebody's gonna vulture these TDs. So I got him at 27.
I'm gonna say, Mikey, not to cut you off.
Y'all underbid ass.
This is my thing, Mikey. You just mentioned something that I think is very important and why his TD numbers may be a little higher. I think the Bears are gonna have great field position all year.
Very true.
Like, all year.
Point God.
Yeah.
Das Boot.
Between the punter flipping the field and our defense in general and the turnovers they already say they want to create and they're going to be able to generate, I think he's going to have a lot of short field situations where you can see him 1 or 2 passes touchdown, like that type of vibe. Yeah. So that's why I said 35 total.
Also, I've never seen a motherfucker in a Bears uniform that I could confidently say, yeah, that motherfucker could throw 30 TDs. So like, yeah, you could call me pessimistic, you could call me whatever. I mean, I just gave him some love. I said,
though, you be like,
you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, this motherfucker just forgot how to walk and chew gum at the same time out of nowhere. So I have to see it to believe it. But hey, if we get 4,000 yards, 27 total TDs, and less than 10 interceptions as a rookie, like it's safe to say.
Solid numbers.
Boy, he gonna have a steakhouse.
You know what I'm saying?
He gonna have a steakhouse over 27 total TDs.
He gonna have a
He gonna have his own section at Tao. Like it's just gonna be the Caleb Williams section. Like his shit's gonna be roped off.
No, that shit's gonna say Caleb Williams Tao. like Cliff Levingston had the Riviera. Michael Jordan got his steakhouse. It's gonna be Caleb Williams Shrimp House.
Cliff Levingston had a Riviera.
Cliff Levingston owned the Riviera. Where everybody used to go.
I didn't know that.
Oh, nigga.
I mean, but Mike, you had a good point because CJ Stroud only threw between 3 touchdowns last year. So I would take that. I would 100%.
And they were throwing that bitch. And they were throwing that bitch. So like let's be real. Like we still got to remember where we play at. They play in the dome. We play outside on the lake. You got the winter factoring in. They are gonna have a heavy emphasis on running the ball. You just kind of got to go back and see. Like, look at how they were utilizing Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet over in Seattle. Like, they both got a lot of touches. They both still ran the ball. So you have to kind of have a little bit of temper your expectations just because this isn't gonna be his last year in the NFL. Knock on wood, barring any crazy injury. Like, eventually it's gonna be all systems go. We just got to see how they utilize him in year 1. And he might force the issue by himself. He might just go out and have a couple games where he's throwing 3-4 and they're like, this motherfucker is Jesus. Like, he's crazy. Like, let's go ahead and open it up for him. Let's give him that leeway. But until then, you kind of got to treat it with kid gloves because you don't want to do what you did to Justin Fields and let him get, confidence rattled, all of that shit, early on. So it's gonna be interesting, man. But I'm gonna be, pessimistic over optimistic just because these are the Bears, I'm
about to say to quote the great PJ Tucker. I mean, I feel you, but I don't feel you. Like, y'all done told me for 2 years This man is the greatest quarterback prospect ever, so I'm not expecting the regular rookie season at all.
Well, y'all better stop underbidding.
I flat out. We've
People get
Ryan, like
out.
I said, I trust polls. He's made every move we said he needed to make. This team is loaded on paper. Granted, it is paper. And now you're telling me you have a prospect and a system set up to build this prospect up.
Look,
no, bro. I can't do it. I can't be pessimistic about anything.
Wait.
Books. We got 8 books.
8 books. Okay, but hear me. Okay. If he matches passing touchdown for passing touchdown, yardage for yardage with CJ Stroud's rookie year, that was 23 passing TDs. Y'all are saying that y'all are going to be underwhelmed?
No. Oh, I didn't say
no, not at all.
No, I didn't say I'd be underwhelmed. That's still just not my expectation. CJ Stroud had Tank Dell, Nico, and I said Nico was going to have a good year, but still, when you looked at that wide receiver room and that running back room, you didn't start that season excited about both of those rooms. With the Bears, you are excited. He's coming into a offense where people had the expectation for them to be top 15 because they thought Justin would have evolved rushing and throwing the ball. That's the offense. That's the staff you ain't putting them in. That's what I'm saying. If you look at what we expected with Justin, and he's better than Justin is as a thrower of the football now, with the opportunity that we've had, with the opportunity that we have on those first 9 games, it's hard for me to expect less when CJ Stroud did it on a team that was the worst team in the NFL at a certain point. Anytime we see quarterbacks in this situation, they're going to the legit worst team in the NFL. He ain't. I just don't think it's unfair to push them up because everything that comes along with it. Our mind tells us one thing, but in actuality, this is a unique situation. So unique situations call for unique predictions.
I just want to state that the numbers I said will be the greatest season in Chicago Bears history for a quarterback.
Oh, it will. Yeah.
He can trip. The bar is had the best quarterback season in Bears history.
I mean, this season would be better than what CJ did. If this nigga would go out there and throw 28.
Gee, if he just averages 215 yards every game.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, I don't understand the
we gonna be out here with moist nuts, G. Like, it's just like, yo, son. Like, come on.
Yeah, they go.
What you say, Mikey? You on mute. Go ahead.
Yeah, I put myself on mute. I got 6 baseball games on the other screen and shit. I'm over here gambling. My computer can't handle this. But no, if he's throwing 215, 230, 2 touchdowns every week, like, y'all gonna have to put me on the list because I'm gonna be walking around like a pit bull with the little pink thing out. I will be outside. So, hey, Caleb, you know what I'm saying? Caleb,
it's a good problem to have, man. It's a good
prove me wrong.
It's a great problem to have.
Let's move on to one of the off-season additions that the Bears did make this off-season. Mr. Keenan Allen, which happened, was before the draft, wasn't he? It was before the draft. Yeah, Keenan Allen happened before the draft. But in the short time I've been around Keenan, this is one vibe I got from this nigga. He wants to get paid. And in the 2 press conferences that he had, he done brought up his bread twice, and he just hired Clutch Sports like a week ago. I think this I'm not going to 100% say that this makes him one and done with the Bears, but I do think it's a high chance of him being a rental. And honestly, I have no problem with him, even if he's here for 1 year and he's like helping put Rome on game and learn different things about being a wide receiver. I think that's awesome, and I think it'll be worth it. We do know the reason he's even here in the first place is because the Chargers didn't want to pay him. But in order for him to even make the money that he wants to make, and he's bringing up the Justin Jefferson numbers, obviously he's not going to make Justin Jefferson numbers at this stage in his career, obviously. But he can still get a good short-term deal for a guy his age. But the reason why, for some people might think that that's a bad deal, for me, it's great for the Bears because if he's going to get paid, that means he had a really, really great year, and that means he stayed healthy. But anything, I think this is perfect for Rome Odunze because you've got a competition, which DJ Moore he's put out in the wide receiver room, first to 1,000, receiving yards. All three of them are going to be at it. Rome Odunze is going to be the most open he has been since he ever breathed air on this earth. He is going to be open. That's how much how much coverage is going to be on DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. But I think this is a win-win for the Bears. If he goes out there and he balls out, maybe if it permits, and maybe it depending on how good of a year Rome had, you might still pay Keenan for a short 2-year deal, things like that. And even if Keenan decides he's a little bit out your price range, and Rome had a great year, now Rome steps in as wide receiver too. I don't see this as a bad look either way. I think this is a win-win for the Bears. Dante, what do you think about this situation with Keenan Allen?
You just hit the nail on the head. I think it's a win-win either way, but me personally, I think it's a rental. When you look at Keenan Allen, he's 6'2", 211. Rome Odunze is 6'3", 218. So similar build, and it's a situation where it's twofold. Where now, again, you've put your rookie quarterback in the best situation ever. And now you brought in your rookie wide receiver who has, unlimited potential. Many thought he was the best wide receiver in the draft. And you surround him with 2 Pro Bowl receivers who, can actually tutor him and show him the right way to start his career off. So I think more than anything with Keenan, he's going to perform. We know that. It's just a matter of him staying healthy. If we can keep him on the field for, I would say 14 or 15 games. I know asking for the whole 17 is kind of pushing it with Keenan these days. Yeah. So I would say we can get him to that, 13 to 14 game mark and allow him to, like I said, work with Rome and, show Rome how to be a professional. Keenan Allen is one of the best route runners in the league. So having that in that wide receiver room to train not only Rome, but your other young guys, you still got Scott, and, you can still potentially, when he leaves, whatever he, instills in those guys get passed down to the next batch that you bring in. So I think, right now, like I said, I'll never say never because we've seen the way Ryan Poles pays the people that he wants and he feels are important to this team. But I think Keenan is going to be a high quality rental. I think it's a one and done. He'll go get his money. He's on the back end of his career, so he's going to go get paid. I respect that. But I think for the Bears' sake and the Bears' standpoint, it's going to be a rental. It's a good rental, a great rental, but it's going to be a rental.
Bang. It's on you. What you think about this Keenan Allen thing?
I'm not so sure he's going to be a rental. Only reason why is because winning kind of helps that out. If this team is a very promising team and he could get enough bread and actually possibly have an opportunity to play for a title, I think that might help out the Bears in that case. It's really just around what the team do, how successful they are. But if he is a rental, he hopes to be the best rental of all time because, like you said, he can't get Jay Jetta's money, but he could get a whole bunch of money on a front-loaded 2-3 year deal. And where he's going to get that from and have a chance to win, I don't think he's going to be able to do 2 things. He's going to have to compromise. So if the Bears have a good season, I foresee him being here for at least 2 more years.
Mikey, I know you said many times that you don't think he's gonna be here long. Are you coming off that stance?
No, I'm not. Well, I'm not, but also I think everything like Dante said, we know what Keenan's gonna do. Keenan's gonna go out there, give you 1,000 yards. He's gonna go ahead and be a route magician. His hands are there. He's probably gonna miss about 3 games, but I think it's all contingent on the growth and the development, pun intended, that Rome Odunze takes, and rookie year. Like, if Rome Odunze is showing that, he's comfortable in the offense, he knows where to be, he can run the route tree, his hands are there, he's reliable, and he looks like he can be a legitimate, number 2 as we hope, and as Ryan Poles and everybody in there thinks he can be, then I think they'll feel more comfortable moving off somebody like Keenan Allen, because at the end of the day, we know how Ryan Poles feels about DJ Moore. And he's going to take care of DJ Moore. And as you see what these contracts are going for, DJ Moore is not signing for anything less than $85 to $90 million. You know, as long as he has another season this year like he did last year, you know, he's deserving of it. He's showing that he can do it with any quarterback. And now when you go ahead and you give him, you know, a quarterback of this, you know, this skill set and this caliber like Caleb Williams, I expect him to take off. I think at the end of the day, no matter what Keenan Allen is, how many Pro Bowls he's been to, everything, I still think the leader of this wide receiver room is DJ Moore. And as long as he produces, Ryan Poles will treat him as such and take care of him. So it's all contingent on what Rome Odunze does in year one. I know that there were some choice words from Jackson Smith and Jigba last year talking about being the number 3 in a Shane Waldron offense. You know, with 2 veteran wide receivers there and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So let's see how Rome Odunze does. You know, I still think next year is the year that you spend big on another rush edge. So I don't know how much money they want to contribute to the wide receiver room. Also, you know, I think this is something that not a lot of people are talking about. And granted, you know, he's still a rookie. But if Caleb Williams is who we think he is, then he's going to be able to cook with anybody. So we're already investing in DJ Moore long term. We've invested in a number 1 pick, a first round pick, and Rome Odunze. We can throw in a complimentary number 3. Maybe Tyler Scott takes that step. Maybe he doesn't. But we can go and get a third wide receiver for cheap in free agency, and we could cook with that because Caleb Williams is going to make those around him better. So it's going to be interesting to see, but I still am going to put my money on him being a rental.
And I also think that, let's be very clear, Ryan Poles will probably snatch Shane Waldron out the fucking.
Yes, he would.
If you don't give the ball to Rome Odunze. Like if this is a JSN situation, there will be problems going on, man. But
hey, let me flip the question real quick. Why would you wait till free agency or the end of the season and just let him go for nothing? Or depending on how the season go, do you think he'll finish the season as a Bear?
Well, I know he just said that there'll be talks, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna wait to end it. I'm Ryan Poles. I'll wait for it because I want to see this nigga healthy for a full year. Like before I give him any bread. Like I think his injuries have been overstated a little bit because I think Mike Williams is the one who just be missing full seasons. Keenan don't be doing that. Keenan might miss 4 games max, but I want to see this nigga out of 17 games. You gotta give me at least 12 or 13 at the bare minimum for me to shell out any money. Just off that, I wouldn't pay. I wouldn't, you know, we can talk numbers all year, but I'm not giving a final offer till after the end of the season, at least to protect myself if I'm Ryan Poles. Y'all disagree with that, or y'all, you know?
No, 100%.
No, I agree, but 13 games is about, you know, where he's been at the last couple of years. So it's going to be interesting to see. But like I said, I think that they might go ahead and spend money elsewhere. You know, it all depends on the growth that Caleb makes and Rome Odunze and how the offense looks.
Yeah, that's partly the reason why I had asked the question is because if he is a rental and Rome is who we think he is, then you can move off of him early and get something out of it, something more than a compensatory pick.
Oh, I see. You talking about a mid-season trade?
Yeah. No. There's no mid-season trade. There's no mid-season trade. Listen, at the end of this
happen. I'm just thinking if he's a rental, I'm just thinking if he's a rental and you know he's not coming back,
yeah.
And Rome is who we think he is. Right. I think about
listen, but no, I think they keep on because at the end of the day, the goal is to make the playoffs, right? And to mature and to develop this young quarterback, to develop Rome Odunze. At the end of the day, if the cost of doing business was a 4th round pick, and which, you know, next year there's a draft where they have about 8-9 picks, then whatever, you charge that, you put that on the arm and you charge it to the game. That 4th round pick and the loss of the 4th round pick and not getting nothing back for it is going to be worth it. You know, when you factor in what he's done in the room, what he's done for DJ Moore, what he's done for Cole Kmet, what he's done for Caleb, and what he's done for Rome, you know, in that 1 year.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I'm looking at his last 5 years. He played 16 games in 2019, 14 in 2020, 16 in 2021. 2022, he played 10. And 2023, he played 13. So you're going to get that, like that 14 to 15 game range is pretty much what I expect. And I think, with that, it would be foolish to pay him early, but I also wouldn't trade him. I wouldn't trade him, but I definitely want to see what happens for the season.
I see zero reason. I don't even think that's even gonna come up. Like, even if he walks for nothing, like Mikey said, you charge the game. I need him for a playoff run. Like, even if Rome is hooping, he a vet. And that's gonna come to 3rd and 10. You gonna need maybe in Lambeau Field, week 18. And I might need Keenan for that 3rd down. You know what I'm saying? Like, or even if Rome's still a rookie. And I don't want to, and then you take that out, that kind of affects DJ a little bit. Because now that, okay, we're going to put 2 niggas on DJ now, make the rook beat us. So that's why I don't see any. I think that Poles is like the 4th round is a 4th round or whatever. If he walks at the end of the season and we make the playoffs and win a playoff game, it was worth it. So that's why I don't see that at all. But to answer your question, I don't think that negotiations even start up till after the season. And that's kind of what Poles is kind of alluded to in the press conferences, man. We are about 45 minutes away from tip-off of Game 5 of the NBA Finals. So we're going to take the last 10 minutes before we get up out of here. My question, y'all, this is something that I've been not anti, but real pessimistic about, and I'll believe it when I see it when it comes to the Chicago Bears' new stadium project. I just don't see – I think the only way that this deal gets done is if they go back to Arlington, and they're going to have to pay some of this money. I think the reason it's taking so long, the Bears don't want to pay the $5. And Governor Pritzker looked at it. He said, that's not going to happen, boss. And we kind of knew that was going to happen after they did that Queen's Child Project presentation a week of the draft. And it's like, I think we always say, it sounds good, but it was just too many things outside of location where you're going to put the parking lot at. Who's going to pay for all of this? And then on top of that, you give the governor a Zoom link. You don't even invite him to the actual unveiling. And you think that he's going to help you in this type of thing, especially when you got Mayor Mohawk out there. He's dealing with things on his own. The last thing they want to give him is a stadium. And then you have these comments from Kevin Warren that came out like about a week to 10 days ago. He says it'll happen at the right time. I don't think this stadium's coming anytime soon. I think that Kevin Warren is realizing that Chicago ain't Minneapolis. Things running a little different out there politics-wise. They don't call Chicago the Windy City because of the weather, my nigga. This is a different situation here when it comes to stadiums. There's a reason they haven't had a new stadium built here in 30 years. Oh, no, it'll be United States, the newest stadium out of all the stadiums, for the major sports teams in the city. It takes a little longer. Yeah, you was able to get Minneapolis to agree to those terms. You were a big fish in a small pond there. It's the different thing here. And then hearing those, it was kind of, I don't want to say like it was defeat or none, but it sounded real Drake the Heart Part 6-ish with, that ain't going to happen right now. And when it does happen, it might be towards the end of Caleb Williams' career. That's what I'm looking at it right now. Dante, what do you think about this whole stadium project and where it stands right now?
Hey, for all my Bear fans, you just get ready to learn that Metro schedule. You feel me? Like, just get them, wrap your mind around it. Figure out where you're gonna park at. Figure out where you might want to go get a room out in Arlington for the day. But no, I think they're gonna build that stadium in Arlington. Once the main thing for me that I knew it was just like, okay, yeah, they're not serious. When you tell the city, we want you to fork over the bulk of the money, but oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna keep the revenue from everything. Yeah. There's no way in hell that's gonna happen. You like as much as the mayor, we tried the same thing with Lori, where we say you don't want to be the mayor that loses the Bears. At the same time, there's so much shit going on in the city, and there's the purse strings are being pulled in so many different directions. If you come to your constituents and say, yeah, we're gonna fork over $6 billion for this stadium while the rest of the city is fucking sinking, he's gonna look crazy. So I think it's a situation where, based on what the Bears want and what the Bears are willing to give, unless Virginia has a change of heart and she goes to Georgia and says, no, we're going to help, make this happen to keep the Bears on the lakefront, they're going to move to Arlington. You already own the land. It's a lot easier and it's a lot more revenue involved when you own the stadium and the land around it. Everybody's trying to take this Atlanta Braves model and run with it. And I think that's what the Bears are going to do. You're going to have their own version of SoFi in Arlington.
Yeah, Arlington's going to be like Thanos. You cannot live with your own failures. But what is it bring you? Back to me, Mikey. What's your opinion on the update that we've been hearing about the stadium?
I think in the end they end up in Arlington. There's just too many factors for a stadium in Chicago. If they're gonna be looking for additional dollars from the state, then I just don't see it happening. There's no way that government officials could sign off on it. You know, they always say that it brings a lot of revenue to the city. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. The numbers show it. There's not an increase in public transportation dollars. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I think at the end of the day, they end up in Arlington. I don't think it's going to be at the end of Caleb's career. I think they make a decision at the end of this year, regardless, that they're just going to go move forward with Arlington. They already own the land. So it is what it is. I think they're trying their best and putting their best public face on to the residents of Chicago and Chicago Bears fans that feel strongly about keeping the team in the city. But in the end, it's going to prove that they just can't do it. It's not feasible, you know. And in my mind, they can do it. They just don't have the dollars, or they just don't want to put up that bread. They don't got the $5 for it. And if they don't want to go ahead and have shared naming rights and do it, you know, Soldier Field's brought to you by DraftKings or Amazon, you know, then it's going to end up in Arlington. So I really could care less about the stadium at this point. I always put that on the back burner. Because it's a lot of political shit. You know, you tell me you're in the chase for, you know, a certain player or moving a draft pick. That's a little bit more interesting to me than, you know, stadium discussions. Because at the end of the day, whether you announce it or not, it's not like the motherfucker's going to be open for week 1. You know, that's years away. So I think in the end, it's Arlington. And they have a perfect opportunity to make it theirs, you know, to go ahead and maybe, you know, attach, you know, some indoor gambling to it, attach some foods, some restaurants, make it like a little Rosemont. Like you said, make it like that model down in the A with the Brave Stadium. It just makes a lot of sense. But the Bears are a mom and pop shop, and they don't want to have control of all of that. They don't want to do all of that. They want the city to help them get some, you know, city to put in some bread, and the city to run the stadium, and they just play there, you know, and do the bare minimum, you know, pun intended as well, as far as the upkeep and all of the costs that, you know, and that it takes to run a stadium and to have all of that land and all of, you know, the surrounding area. So we'll see. But at the end of the day, I put my money on Arlington.
Bang, take us home.
Hey, man, I still have hope, and I still believe that downtown is in play. I don't think that the governor is going to let this ride either. I think the governor knows where the bread and butter at. He just wants to make sure that everybody gets that piece. I think there's going to be some compromises on both sides, and everybody ain't gonna get what they want, but they're gonna get enough to make this deal. I don't think that they do all of this just for, out of all of the places, Arlington Heights, to be like, gotcha, niggas. So I think they're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, man. I've always said I really don't care where the stadium's at. It's not like the easiest commute for me any goddamn way. But I always felt that Arlington makes more sense because they will have more land. You can make it a little Bears town. I always felt like this team, since they don't retire numbers anymore, needs a Ring of Honor. You can set up the Ring of Honor, make a Bears museum, things like that. You can have people fly in, make it a weekend. You know what I'm saying? You can still come in. People act like it's this long commute from Chicago to Arlington. It's not that long. Like, people be coming from further suburbs to go to the field.
Yeah, now let me ask y'all that, because I ain't never been to Arlington. I'm not gonna lie to you. How far is it from, like, say if I'm leaving?
Maybe 30 minutes
from the south side of
downtown. Yeah, it's not from the stadium. It's like 30 minutes from the stadium. It's not far.
Okay.
It's not far.
It's not far. It's not too far. It's right outside of Schaumburg. You know, from my crib, it says it'll take 29 minutes. I will tell y'all, for my people from the city that don't take the Metro is a smooth ride. I take the Metro. The Metro is smooth. It's reliable. It's clean. It's safe.
You won't get pressed by no gang members. Like you will be okay.
You'll be all right.
Yeah, it won't be nobody breakdancing in front of you and shit.
Yeah.
Nah, ain't nobody shaking dice in the middle of the fucking carts. Like you're decent. You're decent. So the Metro's a smooth ride. And at the end of the day, like, it's difficult to get into fucking Soldier Field, bro. It is very hard. Like logistically to go to a game, like for us, I went to that Halloween game with the Niners, Bears, and we had to we parked at Wells High School on Ashland and Armitage. We took an Uber from there because we knew we were going to find parking closer. And we had to get dropped off 6 blocks before. You got to do the whole walk. It's tough. And especially in the wintertime, why wouldn't you want an experience where there's a massive parking?
Yeah.
Easy parking. I could leave my jacket. I could leave the jacket in the whip, and I just got to walk, that little link from the parking to the stadium. It's in the dome. I'm comfy. Why wouldn't you want that experience? So I think it just makes too much sense, man.
As a
motherfucker that's only gone to 3 Bears Soldier Field games, it don't really fucking matter. I'm going to be at the crib. I'm going to be at the crib.
I'm like, unless you're a media member or a season ticket holder and you got a parking pass, we can actually park in Soldier Field. It's a pain. The last time I went to I've only been to one Bears game as a fan, at Soldier Field, because the tickets are just ridiculously expensive, and it's an 8% increase this year. When I went in 2018 for my 30th birthday, me and my brother parked by that Harold's Chicken on Wabash and took an Uber. And that's a pain, but getting out is worse because you gotta walk through, past where the Metro line is at. They walk you into the streets. You can't call an Uber till you get to the residential streets. So it's a pain just to get an Uber. It's worse after the game. If after the game you've been drinking, you know what I'm saying? If it's a game, even worse.
Right. Well, for the people that are coming from my way, Logan Square, Humboldt Park, Jefferson Park, Portis Park, you got to jump on the blue line. You take the red line, you get off on State Street. You on foot patrol from there. That's a long ass fucking walk from the red line to Soldier Field, So you gotta have the little pint of Hennessy and the hand warmers, and you gotta thug it out, making that trek. So I just think logistically it doesn't make sense. And then considering what they want to do traffic wise, if you're gonna have something at Soldier Field and you're gonna do a brand new stadium, you need to make alterations to LSD. You have to go ahead and add parking. You have to add alternate routes. You have to add express buses. All of that shit is a lot, And then when you're talking about we want to add all this, and say what you want about Lori Lightfoot, but she was right. Y'all are asking for a lot to fucking, for be a team that fucking sucks. So, it's hard to go to taxpayers when there's a lot of shit going on in this city. We're not a political podcast, but there's a lot of shit going on in this city where dollars and funds could be allocated properly instead of going to help, billionaires and go and get that partnership, bro. We're not gonna give a fuck. We just want a winning product.
Something small as fixing the potholes in the city, number one. But it's just out of all the stadiums in the city, Wintrust got it figured out. They got a train area over there. It shouldn't be easy to park at the United Center. It is to pick park. It makes the United Center look like a walk in the park. Trying to park over there than Soldier Field.
Shout out to that dinosaur in Reinsdorf. He said, "No, I need parking lots. Fuck that.
Yeah,
I need all this money.
It's easy to park at Sox games. It's easier to park at Wrigley than it is to park at Soldier Field.
That's what made me ask y'all that, because obviously being down here in Atlanta, it was a big uproar when the Braves moved, but they are 15 minutes from the city. From my crib right now, if I got in my car right now, it takes me 15 minutes to get to Truist. And I live in the middle of the city. So that's why I was asking, is the commute a real issue, or is just the fact that they are in Arlington and no longer in city limits on the lakefront?
Niggas just on the city limit part. Let me break something down for y'all. Then we're going to wrap this up, man, because look, the Rams and Chargers play Inglewood. That is not Los Angeles. The Cowboys play in Arlington. The Niners play almost 2 hours away from
Santa Clara. That shit terrible.
Yeah.
They had playing Tijuana. They damn near Mexico how far that stadium is.
The Commanders playing Landover. That's an hour away from DC. These places are not in the get over the Chicago thing, because most of y'all who go to these games don't even live in the city.
Yeah, no, 100%.
They can't afford the games.
The Miami Dolphins are in Broward County. They are not in Miami-Dade County. You know what I'm saying? It's just how it works out. It's going to take you 20, 25 minutes to get to the stadium.
Just that simple, man. But we're going to wrap up. It is 7:00. Game 5 begins in 30 minutes, man. great show, man. Always love talking football. I know once the season starts, we're gonna have some good shows, man. If you want, if you just want to watch just the local hour, man, I separate the local hour for the Patreon subscribers. Patreon.com/Barbershop Network. If you just want to watch the local hour, you don't have to be picking times on the full 2.5 hour show. Yeah, man, we'll be back on Friday, and if things go the way I expect them to go tonight, then Friday will be our last show for 2 weeks, and then we'll be back every Friday from July 5th leading up to September 9th, which will be after week 1, and we'll get back to our 2-week schedule. I'm not going to hold you to all. It won't be nothing that much different. Still be the same show, only once a week. So look out for that. We're going to be breaking down each divisions. We're going to do a lot of preseason talk, baseball, WNBA, some culture talk. So get in tune with that, man. Anything you guys want to say if we wrap up and get up out of here?
All right, just a real quick producer's note. I want y'all to know that Scott made that banner. It is patreon.com, not patreon/com, but yes.
Thank you for that.
Other than that,
I couldn't find that one. That was my fault. That was my fault. Thank you, Dante. That's why you're in the credits, my guy. Thank you for that correction. But we will be back on Friday. Y'all know to follow me on all social media platforms at Barberchair Scott. You can follow JR Bang at JR Bang on all social media platforms. Follow Mikey at Junior_Solito. Follow Dante at OctoberZonte on Twitter. Don't look for the nigga on Instagram. He will look for y'all. Follow H&B Media. Shout out to the homie Thomas. Happy birthday once again, my boy. Follow them at H&B Media TV on Twitter. Follow them at H&B Media on Instagram. Subscribe to the Barbershop Network, patreon.com/Barbershop Network. Got a lot of good stuff on there right now. Had a good episode of Summer Sessions next week. We will have another episode of Summer Sessions this week. So going to be a lot of good podding on that. We've got the Entourage Pod be back, and we're going to have Cinema with the Guys breaking down House of the Dragon. Check that out. Subscribe and get in tune with our sponsors, Pillars. You can go to pillarsclub.co, Pillars_club, where you can visit any of their 3 Chicagoland locations. There's one in the West Loop at 1167 West Madison Street, or you can go to Chicago Mall and the Olin Park Mall and go to any of those locations over there. To the homie Mike, the homie Dukes, all the fam over there at Pillars, man. Y'all enjoy game 5. Y'all enjoy the rest of the week. We will holler at y'all on Friday. We up out of here.